尊敬的各位来宾、女士们、先生们，2025陆海财经论坛即将正式开幕，让我们一起掌声有请重庆市政府新闻办主任张琼女士主持开场环节。Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The 2025 Land Sea Economic Forum is about to officially begin. Please welcome Ms. Zhang Chung, Director General, Information Office of Chongqing Municipal People's Government, to host the opening session.
尊敬的
Distinguished Vice Mayor Xu Jian, Ambassador Chao Zhongming, Mr. Ng Ming Liang, Professor Kishore Mahbubani, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In June, the blue sea and blue sky of Lion City reflects the vigorous vitality. In this beautiful, vibrant season, we gather in Singapore, where Eastern and Western civilizations meet to celebrate the grand event together. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Singapore and the 10th anniversary of the China-Singapore Connectivity Initiative. The China-Singapore Connectivity Project is the third intergovernmental cooperation project between China and Singapore. It takes Chongqing as the operation center and highlights the connectivity. Over the past decade, it has become a bright business card for deepening cooperation between the two countries. The new land sea channel with Chongqing as the hub crosses the mountains and seas, connects the world, and injects strong impetus into the high-quality development of the regional economy. In April last year, President Xi Jinping visited Chongqing and gave Chongqing a new strategic positioning, such as the striving to build an important strategic fulcrum for the development of the Western region in the new era and a comprehensive hub for inland opening up. This has brought unprecedented major historical opportunity for Chongqing to integrate into the national opening up pattern. It has also expanded new space in the development between the two countries and interconnection cooperation between the two countries. Against this backdrop, 2025 Land Sea Economic Forum have now landed in Singapore, looking forward to further deepen the economic and trade cooperation between the countries. 2025 Land Sea Economic Forum is guided by the Chongqing Municipal Government Information Office and co-organized by Western International Communication Organization and CITIC Press Group. This forum adheres to the overall positioning of being based in Chongqing and deepening its presence in the West, and also serving China's industrial expansion oversight. With the theme of connectivity for shared success, trends and visions for Chinese industries expanding into Southeast Asia, we invite all guests from all walks of life and in China and abroad to discuss about how to use Chongqing and Singapore as a fulcrum to further promote connectivity and also to deepen cooperation, to seek common development and to start the next decade of cooperation. First, let me introduce the guests that are attending today's event. First, His Excellency Mr. Xu Jian, Vice Mayor of Chongqing Municipal People's Government, Executive Deputy Director General of Executive Committee of CCI.
中华人民共和国驻新加坡共和国特命全权大使曹忠民先生。
Mr. Cao Zhongming, Ambassador Extraordinary, Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to the Republic of Singapore.
新加坡经济发展局投资促进部北亚区司长黄明良先生。
Mr. Ng Ming Liang, Vice President, Global Enterprises Division, Singapore Economic Development Board.
新加坡资深外交家、前新加坡常驻联合国代表、新加坡国立大学亚洲研究院卓越院士马凯硕先生。
Professor Kishore Mahbubani, Distinguished Fellow, Asia Research Institute at NUS, former Permanent Representative of Singapore to the United Nations.
东盟与中日韩宏观经济研究办公室首席经济学家何东先生。
Mr. He Dong, Chief Economist, ASEAN Plus 3, Macroeconomic Research Office.
马来西亚投资发展局投资顾问主任维洛坦土利希纳赞先生。
Mr. Renathan Tulisinathan, Counselor Investment Director, Malaysian Investment Development Authority.
出席活动的嘉宾还有重庆市委金融委员会、中心示范项目管理局、重庆文化和旅游发展委员会、国有资产监督管理委员会的 负责同志，还有亚洲开发银行、新加坡交易所、大马西信托、中国建设银行、中国太平保险、长安汽车、腾讯科技等中外的企业高管。另外呢，我们也邀请到了新华社、联合早报、亚洲新闻台、CNBC 等中外的媒体参加。让我们用最热烈的掌声对各位嘉宾的到来表示最诚挚的欢迎，谢谢大家。下面我们进入到论坛的第一个议程，就是嘉
Let's go
宾
into
致
the first
辞。
item of the agenda, which is to a speech given by our guest of honor. First, we will let's invite His Excellency Mr. Yu Xujian, Vice Mayor of Chongqing Municipal People's Government and Executive Deputy Director General of Executive Committee of CCI, to give a speech. Distinguished Mr. Ambassador Chao Zhongming, Mr. Ng Meng Liang, Professor Kishore Mahbubani, ladies and gentlemen, good morning everyone. It's a great honor to be meeting with you in this beautiful Lion City of Singapore to participate in the Land Sea Economic Forum opening ceremony. First, on behalf of the Chongqing Municipal Government, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all the guests attending this forum. I would like also to express my sincere gratitude to all people from all walks of life who care about and support Chongqing's development and Chongqing-Singapore's cooperation. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Singapore, and also the 10th anniversary of the cooperation between the China-Singapore Connectivity Project. Chongqing has worked closely with Singapore to achieve major breakthroughs in many fields. China and Singapore cross-border financing channel has been continuously expanded, and Singapore has become the largest source of foreign investment actually used by Chongqing. In terms of transportation and logistics, we have the number of flights between the two places have increased to 21 flights per week, and personnel and economic trade exchanges has also become increasingly close. China is the only municipal that's directly under the central government jurisdiction in central and western China, and it's an important national central city. It is an important strategic fulcrum to the development in the western China. It's located at the junction of the Belt and Road Initiative and also the Yangtze River Economic Belt. It has a very strong industrial foundation and superior transportation conditions. Chongqing is now strive to build an important strategic fulcrum for the development of Western China in the new era, and also focus on the realization of the two major positionings as has been rolled up by President Xi Jinping. We will try to continue to drive the modern development of China. So in our economic output is at 3.7 billion in last year, which grew at 5.7%. And also we have ranked 4th in China. So high quality economic growth in China in Chongqing has got a very good momentum. Today's Chongqing has become a good hotbed for innovation as well as the entrepreneurship. We have 31 major manufacturing segments. It's an important manufacturing base in China. In China, car output is now second in China, and also smartphone output is now ranked 4th in China. We are now building a 33618 modern industrial system, and also to accelerate the drive of the digital development in Chongqing. In terms of the new energy vehicles, we have Ceres and also Chang'an Auto. We have also used high-end intelligent new energy vehicles and going global with the flexible and intelligent super factories. And future economies such as the low-altitude economy and also biomedicine will also become a very important drive for our growth in Chongqing. And drones and also eVTOL has appeared also on the international stage. Facing the future, Chongqing will continue to materialize the consensus that's been reached by the leaders between the two countries. We will continue to increase the exchange and the interaction. We will continue to put in impetus on the land-sea channel. We will continue to leverage our ability to Western land-sea corridor to drive trade and also to create a digital and convenient trade environment. In terms of finance, we will rely on the advantages of Chongqing as a financial center in the West and deepen financial service cooperation and broaden cross-border investment and financial channels and provide a more complete financial support for industries going overseas. In terms of industrial cooperation, we will promote more companies to carry out pragmatic cooperation in the emerging industries such as new energy and intelligent manufacturing, and also in automobiles and electronics. We will actively explore China-Singapore third-party market cooperation, leverage Singapore's connectivity mechanism to drive to promote Singapore to be an important gateway as a hub for Chinese and Chongqing enterprises to go overseas, and also continue to advance the point-to-point cooperation between China and Singapore, and also the face-to-face cooperation between China and ASEAN and also the world. Ladies and gentlemen, and my friends, the construction of the China-ASEAN community of the shared future continues to deepen. The regional economic cooperation is moving towards a higher level, and industrial globalization is also accelerating. In this forum, we are talking about our theme is connectivity for shared success, trends and visions for Chinese industries to expand into Southeast Asia has got a very deep meaning. In facing the competitive landscape in Southeast Asia and also the complex demand, we are considering on how to break through the bottleneck in cooperation and achieve mutual benefit and win-win results. We are gathering the wisdom from all walks of life. I hope that all guests will speak freely and make suggestions for the promoting connectivity between Chinese and Southeast Asian markets. We will jointly write a new chapter in the land-sea linkage. Finally, I wish this forum will be a great success. Thank you, all of you. I also wish all of you good health and also good a smooth work, and also everything is smooth in the world and life. Thank you, everyone.
谢谢徐建副社长。
Thank you. Thanks to our Vice Mayor, Xu Jian. I'd like to now invite Mr. Cao Zhongming.
Let's welcome Mr. Cao Zhongming, Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of the People's Republic of China to the Republic of Singapore, to deliver his speech.
Dear Vice Mayor Xu Jian, Kishore, Professor Kishore, distinguished guests, friends, good morning to you. I'm very happy to attend 2025 Land and Sea Economic Forum today. First of all, I'd like to express my warm congratulations on the holding of this forum. China and Singapore are neighbors and important partners and have achieved fruitful results in cooperation in various fields. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Singapore, and the 10th anniversary of the development of the China-Singapore Chongqing Connectivity Initiative. In the past decade, the China-Singapore Connectivity Initiative has driven the new land-sea trade corridor across mountains and seas, connecting China's western region with ASEAN, even the world, and it has covered 127 countries and regions and 567 ports around the world, and has effectively driven the interaction and development among countries along the route. China and ASEAN are connected by mountains and rivers, connecting culture and destiny. We are a natural community of shared destiny. Both sides have been each other's largest trading partner for 5 consecutive years. The dividends of the Belt and Road Initiative, such as the China-Laos Railway and the Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway, has been gradually released, and it has effectively benefited more than 2 billion people in China and ASEAN countries. In particular, the ASEAN-China GCC Summit, which was just held at the end of last month, can be called a major initiative in the region regional economic cooperation and will further promote regional economic integration. In the speech at the summit, Chinese Premier Li Qiang proposed that all parties should firmly grasp this historic opportunity and strive to create a model of cross-regional openness, a model of cross-development stage cooperation, and a model of cross-civilization integration. Premier Li Qiang also announced that China and the 10 ASEAN countries have fully completed the negotiation on the China-ASEAN Free Trade Area version 3.0. In the next step, both sides will actively promote the signing and approval procedure in their respective countries and promote the formal signing of the agreement before the end of the year. These important developments will undoubtedly create more opportunities for the development of the businesses in the region. Today's forum is also one of the important events of the China-Singapore Financial Economic Summit. The theme of the forum is Trends and Visions of Chinese Industries Expanding into Southeast Asia, focusing on open cooperation and building consensus on development, and building a platform for industry academia research exchanges and connecting the resources. I'm very happy that Professor Kishore will be delivering a very important speech for us. I hope that all guests and friends will speak freely and offer suggestions here to contribute wisdom and strength to the prosperity and development of China and the ASEAN region. Last, I'd like to wish a great success in this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Chao. Next, we will invite Mr. Ng Liang, the Vice President of Global Enterprises Division of Singapore EDB.
Mr. Ng Liang, Vice President, Global Enterprises Division, Singapore Economic Development Board, to deliver his speech.
Distinguished Vice Mayor Xu Jian, Ambassador Chao, Professor Kishore, thank you. First, I would like, on behalf of Singapore Economic Development Board, I would thank the organizers for inviting me to attend this Land-Sea Economic Forum. I'm very heartened to be able to meet so many old friends and here, and also to meet some new faces. I have worked together with Chinese enterprises for several decades. Since 2013, I have witnessed the digital economic development of China, growing rapidly. I remember at the time Taobao, Qingdong, JD, and Tencent, WeChat was not really very popularized yet. But now, in a short few years, Chinese digital economy has now grown significantly. The development pace and the innovation results have now become a model or something for other countries in the world to learn from. Here, I also would like to introduce to our new friends here about our Singapore Economic Development Board. Singapore Economic Development Board, or EDB in short, is a statutory board under the MTI, Ministry of Trade and Industry. It is for us to help to analytics investment promotion and industry development. Our responsibilities also, we are also responsible for strategies that enhance Singapore's position as a global center of business, innovation, and talent. Our responsibilities include facilitating investments. Over the past many years, we have seen that Chinese enterprises have continued to expand in the international stage and their ambition. A lot of Chinese enterprises has chosen Singapore as an important node for international expansion. I also believe that many friends have heard about from their peers sharing about their experiences in expanding into Singapore and other overseas markets. There are many enterprises have also worked together with EDB before. Those friends who have not known about this, is okay. We are now also open a public account on WeChat to help you to get more information and also build and establish a relationship with us. You can scan the QR code to also pay attention to it. today's forum is also a very important historical milestone and historical significance. This year marks the 35th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between China and Singapore. It is also the 10th anniversary of the Chongqing Singapore-Chongqing Connectivity Initiative for 10th year anniversary. This is an important moment. China and Singapore has maintained a deep cooperation and intimate relationship between the two countries for many years. It has also consolidated our cooperation relationship for many years. For all these years, intergovernmental and also on the enterprise level and the private on the people's level, the interaction has continued to expand and also has continued to reach a new peak. On the intergovernmental level, both countries' relationship has been elevated to a high quality, comprehensive, mutual trust, strategic cooperation relationship. In the social and cultural exchange level, like Hai Di Lao and Chaji and Mi Xue, and also Anta, and many Chinese brands have been really well received by the consumers in Singapore. On the enterprise economics level, Singapore has worked together with more than 20 over enterprises which have gone overseas experiences that come to Singapore. We have also accumulated that experiences. The early SOEs such as the PetroChina and Sinopec, as well as newer enterprises like New Hope and also Sichuan High-Tech. And also in 2015, the technology companies that started in 2015 has grown rapidly in Singapore, such as Alibaba, Tencent, and ByteDance, etc. So, as they use Singapore as a very important node for their global expansion and layout. Also, Wuxi Zhiyao, Wuxi Pharmaceutical, and also Jingqi, Ruishen Biochemistry, Biotech, and also Ruitai are also among enterprises that come to Singapore to develop their diversified business and also make Singapore as an important place use Singapore to deepen and broaden their international perspective. In today, we have seen many Chinese enterprises who come to invest in Southeast Asia has continued to be enthusiastic about it, has got a lot of interest in that. So in Southeast Asia, we have about 700 million population. In 2030, 65% of the Southeast Asian population will move into the middle class sector. And 60% will be of the population will be age 30 and below. This has shown a huge market potential and also emerging consumers emerging in Southeast Asian markets. In this area, Singapore has continued to uphold the open business environment, and also through a stable political environment and a very strong infrastructure foundation and a good business environment, and also diversified talents to use this to leverage to attract Chinese and the global outstanding enterprises to come to Singapore. And also we are using and encourage these enterprises to use Singapore as a base to expand globally. What can Singapore bring specifically to enterprises in investing into Southeast Asia? First, in the trade perspective, Singapore as a global busiest and highest efficiency port in the world. About 1/7 of the container traffic will pass through Singapore. In order to support such a huge logistic traffic flow, we have strived to improve our efficiency, and right now we have 90% of the cargo that comes to Singapore port will be able to clear the customs within 8 minutes. And also Singapore has got the largest free trade agreement area in Asia. 85% of the economies in the world has signed. We have signed a free trade agreement with 85% of the global economies. We in the regional comprehensive economic partnership treaty RCEP has continued to improve the convenience and the accessibility of the companies to move within the region. We have also continued to promote regional cooperation. We have broke through some of the limitations. For example, this year we talk about a Singapore Johor special economic zone is a cooperation between Singapore and Johor to which roll out this new platform to encourage a global manufacturing capabilities of Singapore companies to move into Johor, and also to combine the global manufacturing capabilities of Singapore enterprise and also the advantages of Johor to make a strong cooperation so as to build a more comprehensive industrial chain. For this year, lastly, in terms of the capital perspective, in order to help Chinese enterprises to be able to get international financing and also to increase their international influence, Singapore Exchange has also rolled out many convenient and preferential projects. For example, it allow A-shares listed companies to actually to have a more simplified process to be able to list a secondary listing in SGX. Lastly, I want to again thank the organizers to invite us so that we can work together to help Singapore together with Southeast Asia to move into the world. Thank you.
谢谢黄明娘司长。下面有请我们这次论坛的主办方中信出版集团副董事长、总经理段甲强先生致辞。
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Mr. Duan Jiaqiang, Vice Chairman of the Board and General Manager, CITIC Press Group, to deliver his speech.
尊敬的徐建副市长。
Dear Xu Jian Vice Mayor, Ambassador Cao Zhongming, Mr. Ng Liang, Mr. Chen Jin, Professor Kishore, good morning to you. I'm very happy to meet you in this beautiful lion city of Singapore to attend the Land and Sea Economic Forum. On behalf of our CITIC Press Group, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my warm welcome and sincere gratitude to all the guests, experts, and scholars and friends from business and media circles. At present, the international situation is changing and turbulent. In April this year, Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Vietnam, Malaysia, Cambodia, and other Southeast Asian countries, achieving fruitful results in hundreds of cooperation projects and establishing a new milestones in the history of relation between China and Southeast Asia countries. Last month, China and ASEAN completed the negotiation on the version 3 of the free trade area. The two sides will focus on the digital economy, green economy, etc. And this will bring new major opportunities for so this year we are holding the forum in Singapore. This is of big significance, and we are really honored. And we have heard the insightful speech from the various speakers, and we believe that there are wide prospects in the future. And as the leading publishing and cultural enterprises, we have introduced more than 16,000 foreign books and exporting nearly 4,000 copyrights. And these include fields in finance, social sciences, business, management, literature, and culture. So these have been fully recognized and widely praised by all kinds of readers, and putting in important contributions. And in the new historic period, CITIC Press Group has increased its support and service for regional development. In 2024, it will co-organize the first Land Sea Economic Forum with Chongqing Western International Communication Center. This year, it will cooperate with Chongqing Xinhua Publishing Group to jointly build Land Sea Bookstore and work together in think tank consulting research. And through the operation over the past year, we realized that cultural publishing companies have great potential in promoting the overseas expansion of Chinese industries. Next, we will make a full use of our own advantages to play in a better role in the following three aspects. First, we provide knowledge empowerment for industries expanding overseas, focusing on industries going global, and we publish a few a number of high-quality books. And for example, Going Global Strategy, and it presents a good view of the new changes and new tracks in China's industrial development. And we'll continue to summarize and promote the overseas expansion and cooperation experience of outstanding companies through in-depth research and case analysis, and help more companies gain insight into market trends and seize opportunity overseas. And second, to provide resource links for deepening cooperation. CITIC Group, which is the main shareholder of CITIC Press Group, is one of the largest comprehensive enterprise groups in China. Its business in Southeast Asia covers comprehensive finance, equipment manufacturing, resource development, environmental protection, and so on. And in October last year, CITIC Group launched the service brand. If you want to go overseas, look for CITIC. If you want to come to China, look for CITIC. And it will help provide all-round services for Chinese and foreign companies. And we want to promote implementation of more cooperation results. And third, to provide excellent works for the inter-civilization exchanges. The books introduced by CITIC Press Group, such as Lee Kuan Yew on China and the World, and the books by Professor Kishore Mahbubani, a senior diplomat of Singapore, China's Choice, Sino-US Game and Strategic Choices, and Asia in the 21st Century, have provided Chinese reader with a new perspective to learn from Singapore's development experience and observe China and the world. And we'll cooperate with more publishing organizations to launch more excellent works through book publishing, and to widely build consensus on cooperation. Dear guests and friends, in the face of new challenges and opportunities in global development, CITIC Press Group looks forward to working hand in hand with you to promote development through cooperation, promote win-win results, and jointly create a new model of cooperation. I'd like to wish this forum a great success. Thank you.
谢谢我们段甲强副董事长。下面有请我们主办方的另一个单位，那是我们的重庆日报报业集团社长陈进先生致辞。
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Mr. Chen Jin, Chairperson, Chongqing Daily News Group, to deliver his speech.
Distinguished Vice Mayor Xu Jian, Ambassador Chao Zhongming, Mr. Ng Ming Liang, Professor Kishore, also distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and my friends, good morning, everyone. So we are meeting now in Singapore. Now that with the 35th year of anniversary of the two countries, China and Singapore, establishing the diplomatic relations. So now 2025, our Land Sea Economic Forum now is being held grandly in Singapore. I would like to, on behalf of our group, to thank CITIC Press Group, to thank our media friends and also our Chongqing Daily News, to thank our friends who attend here. So Land Sea Economic Forum is a initiative started by WCICO, which is under the Chongqing Daily News Group. We have been positioning to help our enterprise to move internationally. Last year, we have started. We have held the inaugural forum that's held in Chongqing last year. We had a good results. To help our attendees to discuss the new ideas for corporate to go overseas expansion, and also to help Chongqing companies to grow global. So this year we are holding it in Singapore in a vibrant international hub. We will hold a lively exchange of ideas to jointly explore opportunities for cooperation between Chinese enterprises and Southeast Asia. We have also invited many business leaders from Singapore and also ASEAN, and also many of your guests, including the political leaders, business leaders, and also scholars and media colleagues, to discuss together how do we improve the connectivity between China and Southeast Asia. We hope that we make use of a vibrant international hub of city to have a very important brainstorming in this forum, to also to seek opportunities and also the way for us to internationalize. We also take as a city that is undertaking the responsibility to develop the Western China. We have a very important role to play. In this year, China has trying to use culture to actually to help us to drive this expansion. And also in China, in Chongqing, we have become the first city in China to build the what we call the International Communication Group Organization. So in 2024, we have iterated the platform to build a Western international communication center. And international communication has also worked together with the city development. We have also worked together, exchanged with the public. We have empowered digital and also used media as an important strategy to innovate and also to help us to develop our city. We have also tried to drive the innovation in the international communication and also to develop together with the industries. Now the WCICO has already created the client end of the and also the financial forum and also the BRI station. It has become a very important platform for international communication from Chongqing, and also become a very important channel for the international people to understand Chongqing. We have now ranked fourth in terms of the comprehensive overseas network communication power. We will try to be a good channel for communicating voice of China. Second is to optimize and innovate content of the global narrative system. Here, I also like to wish a success for this Land Sea Economic Forum. I hope that you have a very fruitful session to understand more about the business and our expansion ideas. Let us work together to contribute wisdom and strength to the high quality development of the land and sea economy. Thank you, everyone.
谢谢陈进社长。下面我们将进入论坛的第二个议程，就是我们的主旨演讲。在美国关税
We are now going into the keynote speech, and under the tariff measure implemented by the U.S., how can Asia work together to develop a stable chain? And today we're so honored to have invited the distinguished fellow Asia Research Institute at NUS to Professor Kishore to talk about the addressing uncertainty, progress, and prospects of building a China-ASEAN community with a shared future.
Presentation portion of our forum. Let's please welcome Mr. Professor Kishore Mahbubani, Distinguished Fellow, Asia Research Institute at NUS and former permanent representative of Singapore to the United Nations. Let's give him a warm round of applause, please.
Mr. Xu Jian, Vice Mayor, Ambassador Chow Jongming, Mr. Ng Ming Lian, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's truly a great honor to be invited here to deliver my remarks this morning. And I want to begin by saying that actually this forum is very timely because we live in an amazing time where actually when future historians look at our historical moment, they say that the world has turned upside down. And I'm not exaggerating, okay? Because let's say if you're meeting here 40 years ago, the United States and its Western allies would have been champions of free trade and globalization. And as you know, 40 years ago, China and India had barely opened up to the world. And now we find ourselves in a very strange situation where everything is the opposite of what it used to be. So what I propose to do in my remarks, I'll divide my remarks into three parts. In part one, I'll talk about what the world used to be like. Then part two, explain what has changed. And part three, talk about the implications of this big change for China and ASEAN and how we cope with these changes. But to describe the world of 40 years ago, I begin by telling you a story. On 9th October 1985, 40 years ago, I accompanied the then Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. And by the way, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew was given a very unusual honor for a Prime Minister of a small state like Singapore to be invited to speak to a joint session of the United States Congress was an unusual honor. But he got that honor, and he began by thanking the United States for creating a world order that enabled Americans to thrive and enable the whole world to thrive. And this is what he said, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. He said, if the era after the war, World War II, had seen a world relatively at peace and accompanied by an unprecedented degree of human progress, much of the credit must go to American leadership. Because when the war ended in 1945, the US set out with her European allies to establish an open and fair trading system under the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, and a stable system of currency exchange under the original IMF agreement at Bretton Woods. These agreements led to the huge growth in trade, banking, and finance throughout the world. And Mr. Lee Kuan Yew added, never in its history has the peoples of the world enjoyed such high standards of living, unquote. And he was right. That system enabled phenomenal economic growth. Indeed, in the past 40 years, the global economy, in 1985, the size of the global economy was $13 trillion. That was the year when he made the speech. Now it's close to $111 trillion. So we've grown nearly $100 trillion in 40 years. And certainly East Asia, including Japan, South Korea, China, Singapore, all enjoyed tremendous growth. In fact, the combined East Asian economy in 1985 was $2 trillion, or 15% of the world economy. Today is $26 trillion. So you can see, therefore, we have grown a lot as a result of the benign global environment that Mr. Lee Kuan Yew spoke about in 1985. But as you know, and this is the second part of my remarks, today, if Mr. Lee Kuan Yew were alive and if he were invited back to the United States Congress to give a speech again, he could not possibly say what he said in 1985. But I want to add, in a curious aside, it's a speech, you should go back if you have time, Google the speech, download it, read it, because actually in 1985, 40 years ago, he actually warned the United States, beware of protectionism. And this is what he said, quote, putting up barriers to America's markets would halt the economic advancement of the free market-oriented developing countries. It would send a signal that the model provided by the countries in East and Southeast Asia is no longer an available option. It could set off a chain reaction which would result in a downward spiral of the world economy. And he added, the irony is that it was the US and Europe that forced a reluctant China and a hermit like Japan to open up their economies to trade with the West. They were two Oriental societies happy to be self-sufficient and to keep out the outside world. So it seems preposterous that because America has temporary difficulties with the balance of trade, due in part to an overvalued dollar resulting from high interest rates and a budget deficit, that the US should begin to close her markets. He said, what a bittersweet irony or role reversal that would be. And he said there are two scenarios for the 21st century. The first is bleak. If because of domestic problems, the US loses the will to maintain free trade, protectionism and retaliation will shrink trade and reduce jobs, unquote. 40 years ago, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew warned that would happen, and that's exactly what has happened today. Because the world has changed, it's now upside down. The US, which used to be the champion of an open global trading system, is now the champion of a closed system, raising tariffs on countries around the world. And the new world, interestingly enough, just as the old world was well described by the former first Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, the new world is also very well described by the new Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lawrence Wong. And this is what PM Lawrence Wong said. He said that the recent Liberation Day tariff announcements by the US confirms this stark reality. The era of rules-based globalization and free trade is over. For nearly 80 years since the end of World War II, America was the anchor for the free market economies of the world. It championed free trade and open markets and led efforts to build a multilateral trading system. But what the US is doing now is not reform. It is rejecting the very system that it created. The US may have decided to turn protectionist. But PM Lawrence Wong added, but the rest of the world does not have to follow the same path. We will identify other partners to join us and work around this to ensure resilience and maintain critical parts of the multilateral system while laying the foundations for a possible new and different global system that can be achievable later. So you can see, therefore, that the world has changed and become upside down. But the big question, of course, is why has this happened? Why has the world turned upside down? And as you all know, in these things, the answer is complicated. You cannot expect simple answers. Certainly, within the United States, the dominant consensus is very clear, very simple. The reason why United States has decided to turn away from the global system is because Americans believe that by opening up their economy, by admitting China into the World Trade Organization, the Americans lost jobs, and so the Americans are worse off, and therefore the time has come for America to close shop rather than open shop vis-a-vis the rest of the world. And as you know, the American economists have a term for what happened to the United States. They call it, as you know, the China shock that disrupted the United States. And there's even a study by the Nobel Prize-winning economist, Daron Acemoglu, who found that between 1999, this is about 2 years before China joined the World Trade Organization, and 2011, he says around 2 to 2.4 million jobs were lost in America due to China import competition. And what's interesting is this. There's actually an article, a journal article, in the highly respected American Economics Journal. It's called the American Economic Review. And in this economics journal, there's an article that says that the loss of jobs in the US due to the China shock actually impacted the elections in 2016. And as you know, the elections in 2016 was the one that first elected Donald Trump in 2016. And this article says, quote, a counterfactual study of closely contested states suggests that Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania would have elected the Democrats ahead of the Republican candidate if, ceteris paribus, the growth in Chinese import penetration had been 50% lower than the actual growth during this period of analysis, unquote. So you can see, therefore, that China's entry into WTO certainly had a disruptive effect on the American economic and political system. But at the same time, if you want to be brutally honest and candid about why the bottom 50% in America have not benefited recently from globalization, it is not, you cannot put the responsibility completely on China's admission to the WTO. There are domestic reasons why the 50% at the bottom have become disillusioned and disenchanted with globalization. And the more important critical internal structural reason for the disillusionment of the bottom 50% is that America has become functionally a plutocracy. A plutocracy is a system in which the top 0.1%, the top 1%, maybe the top 10% benefit, and the bottom 50% do not see an improvement in their standard of living, as you know, and that's what's happened in the United States. And by the way, I'm not the only one saying that United States has become a plutocracy. The former head of the Fed Reserve, Paul Volcker, said that. The Nobel Prize winning Joseph Stiglitz describes the United States as a plutocracy. The Martin Wolf, the chief economics correspondent of the Financial Times, also describes America as a plutocracy. And by the way, there is also academic empirical data that proves that functionally America is a plutocracy. So there are two Princeton University economists and social scientists, Martin Gylens and Benjamin Page, have provided extensive data to show that when the United States Congress passes legislation, this legislation benefits the interests of the moneyed people who donate, not the larger majority of American citizens. And this is what they write. It's a bit technical, but it's clear. When the preferences of economic elites and the stance of organized interest groups are controlled for, the preferences of the average American appear to have only a minuscule, near zero, statistically non-significant impact upon public policy. And they add that the important paper by Thomas Piketty in 2018 demonstrates how the stagnation of the bottom 50% of America's population and how this contrasts sharply with the upsurge of income of the top 1%. So for the bottom 50% of America's population, the share of pre-tax income declined from around 21% in 1970, 21% in 1970 to around 13% in 2014. It's gone down. At the same time, the share of income of the top 1% increased exponentially from around 9% in 1970 to over 20% by 2014. But clearly, you can see, therefore, that the bottom 50% in the United States have not been benefiting from the economic growth and development both of the United States and the rest of the world, and therefore the population has turned against globalization. That's why President Trump got elected, and that's why America is shutting the door on the rest of the world. So it's due to these structural factors. But of course, the challenge for us is that the decision by the Trump administration to walk away from globalization is definitely creating a severe challenge for our global system. It's probably the biggest challenge our global system has had since the end of World War II, 80 years ago. Again, I can tell you, for example, that the projected growth of the world economy in 2025, as Martin Wolf notes, will go down to 2.3%, the slowest pace since 2008. And he says, Martin Wolf, Financial Times, quote, "The uncertainty created by Trump's trade war could lead to far greater declines in trade and investment than projected, and certainly it will be hard to trust in any supposed deals now announced." And he goes on to warn that this will, of course, mean that lots of people will suffer. And the chief economist of the World Bank, Indermit Gill, has said, growth in developing countries has been ratcheting downward for 3 decades in a row, from an average of 5.9% in the 2000s to 5.1% in the 2010s to 3.7% in the 2020s. So I hope by now I've given you a sense what a challenging global environment we have. And I want to emphasize that because if you understand how challenging the global environment is, you then realize the importance of this forum, the Land Sea Economic Forum. Because we must, in a world which is closing doors, keep up a region where the doors remain open and connected. It's very important. And here, in some ways, and this is in part 3 of my remarks, it's quite remarkable how successful the ASEAN-China partnership has been. Now, again, you may say, so what's special? So what if China and ASEAN have a partnership? Let me tell you this. If you go around the world, just travel around the world and look at relationships between large, major world economies and their immediate, let's say, developing country neighborhoods. And find me one example of a happy relationship anywhere in the world, anywhere. Look at Europe, right? Europe has been a neighbor with Africa for centuries, and as you know, sadly, Europe exploited, colonized Africa for centuries. So now you would think that Africa has been decolonized, that you might have a happy relationship between Europe and Africa. No, not at all. In fact, by the way, just literally 3 weeks from now, I'll be in Nigeria talking about the Europe-African relationship. And it's not a happy relationship. Europe hasn't opened its doors to African products, trade hasn't grown significantly, and Africa hasn't benefited. And at the same time, as you know, this is one reason why President Trump was elected. The United States also has a very unhappy relationship with its neighbors down south, and President Trump is working very hard to close the borders of people coming from down south. So it's an unhappy relationship. So if you compare against that backdrop, how successful the China-ASEAN relationship has been, it's quite remarkable. And as you know, trade between ASEAN and China has exploded since the ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement was signed. In 2001, at that time, trade between ASEAN and China was only $40 billion, but by 2022, it had actually grown dramatically to $975 billion, so almost $1 trillion. That's quite amazing. And here I want to add a very important point. one reason why the ASEAN-China relationship could work so well is because ASEAN as a regional organization was working so well. And here again, many in Singapore take for granted what ASEAN has achieved. Please don't. Trust me, no other region of the world can claim a record of delivering peace and prosperity for 50 years in the way that ASEAN has. I mean, just take a mental tour of the world, okay? Go to South Asia. Look what happened a few weeks ago. There was an explosive clash between India and Pakistan. That doesn't happen in Southeast Asia. Go to the Middle East. Wars are still going on there. Go to Africa. Wars are still going on there. Go to South America, which is relatively peaceful. But the two largest economies of South America are Brazil and Argentina. And I can tell you now, the leaders of Brazil and Argentina barely talk to each other. It's a fact. Regional cooperation is never easy. Never. Because you cannot choose your neighbors. Whoever your neighbors are, you've got to accept them. And what makes it even more remarkable, and many in Singapore don't know this, that Southeast Asia is by far the most diverse corner of planet Earth. The most diverse. Out of 700 million people, there are 250 million Muslims, 150 million Christians, 150 million Buddhists, some Mahayana Buddhists, Hinayana Buddhists, we have Taoists, we have Confucianists, we have Hindus, we have everything in Southeast Asia. If there was one part of the world that was designed for conflict and war, it should have been Southeast Asia. That's why British historians used to describe Southeast Asia as the Balkans of Asia. You saw the wars in Yugoslavia, right? That's what should have happened here. No wars. 50 years. And this is an important point, because if ASEAN hadn't become such a successful regional organization, you could not have had this partnership between ASEAN and China, because you do need a functioning region to provide a partnership with China. And this is why it's quite remarkable that we now have the opportunity today, through forums like this, to carry the partnership to a higher level. And then it's also because both sides are succeeding and doing well. As you know, in the case of China's remarkable growth, you all know the story. To me, the one statistic I cite all the time to indicate how well China has done is to mention that in 1980, the European Union was 10 times the size of China's economy. 1980, 45 years ago. Today, EU and China are about the same size. And by 2050, the EU will be half the size of China. Can you imagine this? In one lifetime, 1980, EU is 10 times the size of China. Now they're about the same size. By 2050, EU will be half the size of China. That's, by the way, I want you to know this. These sorts of massive structural changes don't happen often in history. We are living through a time which is seeing such remarkable changes, right? And similarly, ASEAN has also done very well as a regional organization, right? It is, in 2000, Japan was the world's second largest economy. Everyone talked about Japan. Japan was 8 times bigger than ASEAN. Today, Japan is only 1.2, 1.3 times bigger than ASEAN. By 2030, ASEAN is bigger than Japan, which was the world's second largest economy in the year 2000. So you can see, therefore, the fact that China has succeeded, the fact that ASEAN has succeeded, creates the necessary foundation for building a strong partnership. And this strong partnership is extremely important in the current global context, because in the current global context, there are very, very few positive stories of cooperation that you can point to as examples for the rest of the world to follow. But the China-ASEAN partnership is one of them. So if we have forums like this, if trade grows, if investment grows, clearly we are providing a role model for the world. And here I'm glad Mr. Ng Min Liang mentioned also the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership and ASEAN initiative, which includes the 10 ASEAN countries, and also China, Japan, South Korea, and Australia, and New Zealand. And this is, by the way, by far the world's largest free trade agreement. And as you know, at a time when free trade has become taboo in places like the United States, we continue to believe in it, we continue to grow with it. So therefore, I believe that once again that this forum is very timely, and I wish you every success. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kishore, for his insightful address. And he has shared with us the development prospects of ASEAN, and he has also proposed, given us wisdom to deal with the uncertainty. Now we'd like to invite the chief economist from the ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office. He's going to talk about regional economic outlook.
Good morning, distinguished guests. It's a huge honor for me to be here to share some of the work we have been doing at ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office. It's a special pleasure also to share the stage with Professor Kishore Mahbubani, who has just left. He and I share one common passion, that is our belief in multilateralism and in international organizations. Kishore Mahbubani was in the United Nations for many years, and I spent most of my career in multilateral organizations like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. So I've just recently joined ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office as its chief economist. So let me spend the first part of my presentation giving you an introduction to what we do at the ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office. So ASEAN Plus 3, the three are China, Japan, and South Korea. So this is an international organization based in Singapore. Not many of you have heard about it, but it's a very important part of the global safety net, financial safety net. So it was established as an international organization in 2016, so we are a very young organization, but within this short period of time of 9 years, I think we have achieved a lot. And we are aiming very high, and we hope to contribute to further financial integration of ASEAN Plus 3 region. As you know, since the end of the Cold War, the global economy really has prospered. At the same time, it has gone through many episodes of crisis. Crisis management has been part of the successful story. The recent ones, of course, that hit the region very hard was the 1997-98 Asian financial crisis. And of course, most recently, we have the global financial crisis. So the period has been characterized with very volatile capital flows. To manage this, we have an important setup, that's the global financial safety net, with the International Monetary Fund at the core of the system, and with regional financing arrangements such as AMRO, that's ASEAN Plus 3, and CMIM. Not many of you, again, have heard of this acronym. It stands for Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization. So Chiang Mai Initiative really was an initiative taken by the governments of the region to multilateralize financial help or emergency liquidity assistance during crisis times. The chart shows, basically at the global level, we have about $4 trillion US dollars of the global financial safety net. And the Chiang Mai Initiative actually is the second largest regional financing arrangement. The chart on the right shows that the ESM, the European Stabilization Mechanism, is the largest, with Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization at $240 billion being the second largest. So this is a pretty sizable pool of reserves that can be utilized in crisis times for mutual help between ASEAN and the Plus 3 economies. So ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office and the Chiang Mai Initiative Multilateralization is really a regional voice, but it has global impact. As I explained, ASEAN Plus 3, the three are in Northeast Asia. These are the largest economies in the region: China, Japan, and South Korea. So we aim to contribute to macroeconomic and financial resilience and stability via surveillance, regional financing arrangement, technical assistance, and facilitating ASEAN Plus 3 financial cooperation. It was established in 2016 as an international organization. So we do many things. An important part of that is to contribute to surveillance. That is, we actually have annual consultation with our regional members, particularly the central banks and the finance ministries in the ASEAN Plus 3 economies. Of course, we also have flagship publications such as the ASEAN Plus 3 Regional Economic Outlook and the Financial Sector Stability Report. So in the second part of my presentation, I want to give you a flavor of our view on the regional outlook, particularly in the context of heightened global tension or trade conflicts. And then in the last part of my presentation, I will share with you a silver lining coming out of this global conflict might be further integration of the ASEAN Plus 3 region. So why do we think, what are the opportunities, particularly for the audience here, in terms of trade and investment outlook between China and the ASEAN region? As you know, the tariff hike by the United States, as announced on April the 2nd, was really unprecedented. It has reached the level not seen since the 1930s. And of course, ASEAN region is one of the hardest hit. And in particular, Vietnam and Cambodia faced one of the highest tariffs rates in this round of announcements. Even with the 90-day pause, financial industry and investors face a huge amount of uncertainty. The measurement of uncertainty has hit historically unseen levels. And our work shows that this level of uncertainty, of course, has a very damaging impact on exports and GDP growth. This level of uncertainty is likely to persist for quite some time to come. So with that, with the high level of tariff, it's likely in the short term the region will be negatively impacted. So regional growth may slip below 4% this year, and next year the impact could be quite high, particularly in the Liberation Day scenario. You could see that the impact could be quite high here. It's going to be only around 3.4% in 2026. Having said that, we believe that the region has faced this shock from a position of strength. So why do we say that? For three reasons. The first reason is that the region has become much more resilient in the past 20 years. So one important strength is that domestic demand is now the predominant driver for growth in the region. If we look at import-adjusted GDP, you can see that domestic demand, shown in the red part, really has grown much more significant as a driver for growth in ASEAN Plus 3 region. And the second reason for this strength, the position of strength, is that the rising importance of trade, intra-regional trade, or lower importance of the U.S. as the final source for export demand. You can see that when we do value-added exports adjustments, when we look at value-added, China has overtaken the U.S. as the largest source of demand for exports from the ASEAN region. The third reason that the region is in a position of strength, of course, is the economies have sufficient room for policy response. So there is quite a bit of policy space for central banks and the finance ministries to use both monetary policy and fiscal policy to counteract the impact of the trade wars and support the economies. So our assessment, as you can see, that most of the economies of this region have quite a bit of policy room to support economic activities. So let me move on to talk a little bit about the medium outlook for trade and investment in the region. I'm sure the audience of this forum would be most interested in the opportunities in the medium term. ASEAN Plus region, from a global perspective, has the largest source of contributor to global growth in the past 20 years. It's expected to continue to be the biggest source of global growth. As you can see from the chart on the left, ASEAN The ASEAN region will be growing faster than the +3, and both these sub-regions will be growing much faster than the world as a whole. As a share of real GDP growth, you can see ASEAN +3 contributed 44% to global growth from 2011 to 2019, and we expect that from 2023 to 2030, in this period, ASEAN +3 would contribute to 44%, continue to be the largest source of growth. Another opportunity is to navigate through the global geopolitical tensions. Of course, this has to be very deftly handled. As you can see from the chart on the left, trade growth between China and the US has been much slower in the past 5 years, whereas the growth of trade between the US and the rest of the world, between China and the rest of the world, has been growing much faster. Another opportunity is trade of services. Trade exports have been growing faster than goods exports, but there is significant room for that to become even much bigger. So these regional economies must implement strategies that can reinforce growth and resilience. So what are the robust strategies for trade reconfiguration? First of all, intensify regional cooperation, further liberalize services trade, foster higher competition, and pursue broader diversification. So here I think I want to elaborate a little bit on the diversification part. Now, untapping the opportunities would mean, for example, service exports would be, at the moment, it's not as fast as it should be. As you can see that in other regions, particularly in United States and Europe, EU, the share of inward stock, FDI stock by sources of economy here in ASEAN +3 is still much larger than the intra-regional trade, intra-regional investment. So the middle chart basically shows the share of inward FDI stock by source economy. So this shows when we look at ASEAN as a region, what are the sources of FDI? You can tell that, for example, EU is the largest, the US is the second, ASEAN itself is the third largest, whereas from China and it's actually smaller than Japan. So it's the fourth largest, the fifth largest in the region. Now, as you also know that the innovation capacity of the regional economies have really improved significantly. You can tell that between 2014 and 2024, in the past 10 years, many of the regional economies have really improved their innovation capacity. The innovation index ranking, for example, in Singapore has moved significantly up. And the change, of course, is very significant for China. You can see the ranking of China has moved from 29 to 11. So these really provide a lot of opportunities for further collaboration between China and ASEAN. For example, you can tell the ASEAN as the community itself is really a upper middle income. If we think that as a country itself, GDP per capita is just over $5,000. In China now, it has exceeded $12,000. In terms of the comparison, as you can see, ASEAN itself is close to 700 million population. So the capacity of the ASEAN region itself is really very big. That provides a very important trading partner when we think about the gravity of trade investment opportunities between these two communities. Now, when we look at FDI, ASEAN itself is an important FDI powerhouse, both absorbing FDI from the rest of the world and making investments in other parts of the world. As you can see, this has continued to grow, and now it's just short of $2 trillion, the inward as of ASEAN as a destination for FDI, and as a source of FDI, it has also grown significantly. China's FDI into ASEAN has doubled since the pandemic. And what is surprising, many of you probably don't know, the ASEAN as a source of investment into China also has grown very, very fast in the past 6-7 years. Having said that, as you can tell, if you compare this figure with the previous chart, investments from China is only less than 10% of the total FDI in ASEAN. So as I mentioned, inward FDI into ASEAN is about $2 trillion, and from China, it's less than 200 billion. So this shows there is a huge amount of potential. This slide shows that the structure of trade has really diversified. It spans across a huge range of industries. So the structure of trade between China and ASEAN has really moved into manufacturing industry both ways. So ASEAN is not only a source of commodities as commonly perceived for China. ASEAN is actually an important source of technological and manufactured products. So China is becoming a very important source of import demand for ASEAN. So with that, let me conclude. I hope I have given you a lot of data. The takeaways are really that in the short term, the trade conflicts would have a lot of negative impact on the region, but it's important to understand that the region has come into this situation from a position of strength, and that's reflected deft policy making by the regional authorities in the past more than 20 years since the Asian financial crisis in the late 90s. This is not a small achievement. And going beyond the short term, we think that the region can make use of the resilience and the further regional integration. That would provide a very important source of growth. So further accelerate export diversification, including services, and the deepen intra-regional integration, build foundations for the future. So as I mentioned earlier, if there is a silver lining from the current heightened tensions of geopolitical tensions or trade conflicts, then a tighter regional integration would be that silver lining. with that, let me stop here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
非常感谢何东博士的精。
I would like to thank Dr. He Tong for his sharing. He has given us a very insightful analysis to see how we see the current status and the future path of China and ASEAN cooperation. Hope that in the future you have new feelings, new understanding. I would like to thank Dr. He Tong, Professor He Tong, for his insightful sharing. In the new stage of global competition, and Chinese brands are upgrading its products going global into ecosystem going global. It has now upgraded that. How enterprises will build a mutually beneficial and a win-win ecosystem with overseas markets and technology sharing. This will be a very important thinking from the single way. From a unilateral output, how do we achieve a two-way win-win? We have invited Mr. Guan Xin, Deputy General Manager of Chang'an Auto. He will share with us about 2025 China Auto brand globalization strategy, from product localization to ecosystem exporting global. He will talk about the story of Chang'an Automobile, how it does it internationalize, and also analyze how to build sustainable competitive advantages in the global market through the deep localization collaboration. Distinguished guests and friends from media, good morning. Firstly, I would like to thank organizers of Land Sea Economic Forum for inviting us. Today, my theme is about 2020 globalization strategy of Chinese automobile brands in 2025, from product localization to ecosystem expansion. If you look at the back, look at the past, from 0 to 1, from 1 to 100, we have worked a lot in building our Chang'an Auto brand, then and achieve the current achievements. Currently, Chinese auto brands have now been ranked well in the global positioning. With our very good service and also innovation, we have already won a lot of recognition from our international consumers. First, I want to share with you about Chinese auto brands internationalization current status. In 2024, the Chinese auto sales continue to grow. Our sales broke through 31 million, and had the year-on-year growth is 30% of growth, 34% growth. We have ranked first in the world. And new energy vehicle, we have reached 12.888 million, and the growth is 34% year of growth. In the percentage of a new car, we have our share is 49%, and this has increased 9%. 3 points. Chinese auto export continue to grow. In the consecutive 6 years, we continue to be the first, to be the largest auto exporter in the world. So we have exported 58 million auto in the last year, growth 40%. So in Chinese auto, in the auto export last year, we have continued to have dominated in the internal combustion vehicle, and then the weaker in electrical vehicle. In terms of the share of market, we have 21.9% in the EV market. In terms of market space, in 2024, the finished auto export in sales share is 9.1% of the global share. Chinese auto export, there is still a lot of room to grow. In ASEAN, Middle East, and also EMEA are the main global markets, growth markets for us. The export model is we have to consider the potential trade barrier impact. So we are now accelerating the overseas building of overseas plants. We are now from the past product export, now we are now transforming into capital and also technology export into the other countries. So as our influence becoming more important in the international markets, our internationalization strategy has also changed. In the past, we were mainly only using product as an export. Now we are going deeper into ecosystem expansion in the international markets. This is not only a necessity choice because of the market changes. It's also our enterprises are facing global competition, which is continuing to intensify. We have to do this. product export simply put is to sell our products mainly into the international markets through overseas trade, and also using the overseas channel to sell our products in the markets overseas to quickly penetrate into the international markets. This will have a fast results, and also low investment, but then we have also a very strong limitation. It is mainly looking at the short-term sales results and also market share gaining. It is in terms of the deepening integration or zero market attention to the international markets is still not high enough. But to deepen our ecosystem expansion, we are going deeper, not only selling products, but also use our technology, industry chain, and also service system to bring into the international markets. From R&D to production to service output, we have a comprehensive ecosystem. This model will not only pay attention on the product sales, it is also emphasizing on the ecosystem in terms of synergy, and also to improve our overall competitiveness. Actually, it's very different between product export and also ecosystem expansion. One is to go fast in getting orders. The others is to talk about long-term localization and also operation. So the former has got a very low resilience to the risk and also very easily affected by trade barriers. But in the latter will be compliant with the local laws and regulations, will be able to adapt to the international changes, will be more stable. And more Chinese enterprises are now accelerating their transformation from product export into ecosystem expansion, and to build a more sustainable and more competitive, comprehensive globalized development. So Chinese auto brands, with our very first mover advantage in our products quality, we are now growing very fast. However, in terms of internationalization, our Chinese autos are now facing three barriers. First is the challenges of the global trade barriers and also tariff pressure. Second is also what we are facing, our brand competitiveness is still not strong enough. And also thirdly, our technology and ecosystem export bottleneck.
These are challenges that will actually challenge our positioning, and also it would test us whether we are able to actually export our ecosystem, and also it push up the costs and risks of exporting cars. And recently, Europe and US have been imposing higher tariffs on Chinese cars. And last year, October, Eurozone has actually imposed a subsidy tax on the electric vehicles from China, and we have subsequently negotiated, and we cannot rule out that in future the Eurozone could impose other tariff for various reasons. So and now US is imposing a tariff, and also now they are also imposing restriction on all these smart devices for autonomous vehicles. So we need to adjust our deployment in the market and to build a regional production industrial chain, and to alleviate the impact from the tariff. And second, the next is about transformation of our brand, and so we want to build this as a trusted brand, and we want to ensure that it is evergreen. And based on a GDI report, it says that the global consumers, the trust of global consumer on Chinese product is increasing, and for emerging products, the influence and the trust in Chinese products brands are actually increasing. So in the past 5 years, it has been increased by 20 percentage points, but consumers are also doubtful about the reliability and the post-sales service. So for the automobile industry in China compared to a Western country is actually relatively shorter, and so this resulted in consumers the awareness and the awareness of a Chinese automobile brands is not high. So we want to enhance our quality as well as our post sales services, and also we want to improve on our accessories provision overseas. And second is to build local local marketing team and to position in the market in a more precise manner, and to build our local brand image. So export of Chinese cars in the past used to leverage on affordable price, and there are some short weaknesses. We are now leading in the electric vehicles, but in terms of some of the, for example, high energy battery assisted driving, these are areas that we still need to improve, and also we need to comply with the European regulations. So this might affect our ability to manage data overseas, and so we are currently quite fragmented in terms of our overseas business. So we do not have the capability of integrating our industrial chain. And so in terms of ecosystem, the industrial, so in exporting also, we are also facing the cultural issue and the local law and regulations. And now we want to move towards synergy in our industrial chain. So for new energy research, is an area that we're going to put more effort to enhance the quality. And second is to develop industrial chain when we move overseas. And third is to collaborate and to integrate our production with the local infrastructure. So the challenges that we face is in the short term, we need to deal with the trade friction, and in the long term, we need to enhance our technology. Although we are facing a lot of challenges, but the Chinese brands has a wide prospect in the global market. Looking at 2025 figure, January to April, the global automobile industry is presenting a very stable. Is very stable, and the total sales, our market share is 34%. 2025 is expected that our export will be 200,000, and by 2030 it's projected that our export would be 800. And as economic development potential is releasing, we have strong growth prospects, and in the future, we believe that the industry will be able to drive the economic development. And with various with a Belt and Road Initiative and various regional agreement, we in the automobile market will have a greater prospect in the future. Since 2025, a lot of countries have been giving a lot of support in electric vehicle. For example, Spain and Vietnam, they have extended the preferential policy treatment for electric vehicles, and so this is actually conducive for electric vehicle. Chang'an Automobile, as of end of last year, our total sales have actually exceeded 2.6 million units, and is actually the first Chinese brand that have actually surpassed 2 million. So this is due to our design, our high R&D, and our stringent production requirements. And Chinese brands are facing a lot of challenges. So I'd like to share with you Chang'an Automobile. We want to be inclusive, and it was established in 1860s, and since the beginning, we have actually employed an Englishman to be our general manager. So that actually set the pace for internationalization. So after many years of development, we have been a representative brand for a Chinese vehicle. So in 2024, our sales have actually surpassed 2.6 million, and our year-on-year growth was 52.8%, and for overseas sales, our year-on-year growth is 49%. And we also produce a new energy vehicle, and we want to continue with our global strategy, and we will so we have implemented a global 152 strategy rooted in China, with accelerated expansion into 5 major regional markets, including Southeast Asia, Europe, and Euro-Asia. And so Chang'an, under such a vision, what are the experiences that we have? First is about intellectual property. We have applied more than 20,000 patents, and so on average it's 19 per working day, and with 70% being invention patents. And the company has also participated in the formulation and release of over 240 external standards, including international, national, and industry standards. And Chang'an has ranked among the top in the automobile industry for 14 consecutive years. And we continue to attract the talents from all over the world. And our team are young, are professional, they are international, and they are market oriented. So we'll continue. We actually have a design team of 990 over experts over 31 countries. And so in terms of sales and marketing, we always do it in a long-term manner, localized, systematic, and ESG driven. So we have 28 regional brand launch events held in different parts of the world, and we have global sales and service outlets amounting to 14,000. And now we have so ESG, we have been putting in 32 million, and we have been also carrying out philanthropic activities, and this forum is held in Southeast Asia. So I'd like to share with you some data about Southeast Asia. So in 2023 May, we have actually started some launch in Thailand as well as other part of the world, and to introduce our new products. 2025 May, we launched the very first overseas NEV manufacturing base in Rayong in Thailand, and And the facility adopts advanced technologies such as the solar power, rainwater recycling, etc. So our production capacity is continue to increase to 200,000 a year. So we have more than 190 offline channels. In terms of the supply chain, we have been working closely with our partners to enter into agreement, and we have more than 200 suppliers that we are collaborating with, and our employees is more than 1,000 people, and locals account for about 87% of the total workforce. And we are adopting a model of one network, three systems. And with this V2 user brand, this is a sustainable user engagement model. So we continue to explore that. And talking about Singapore market, Chang'an, and together with Depot and Premium Automobile, we have already entered into a partnership. So on 2025, March 27, Depot officially held its brand launch, and we also introduced SO7 and other products. And in coming July, I would like to mention that our high-end car, Avita, will be launched in Singapore. For Southeast Asia, we have already, you can look at this chart, we have Jodo and Yudo's products. We have already put in various products, and it's estimated that by 2030 we will launch more than 20 new products, and it will be a low carbon smart car. So by 2030, Chang'an would like to hit global sales of 5 million units by 2030. And overseas market sales would be 1.5 million, and overseas market investment would be 10 million, and we will employ more than 10,000 overseas employees and want to be the first-class automobile brand. So this is our objectives. So we want to lead in the automobile industry and to benefit the people. So with the current geopolitical tussle, Chang'an, we will continue to work on a win-win model and to enhance our industry. And thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kwan Sin. Chang'an Auto is the leading enterprise for under the Made in Chongqing brand, and also a model for China's smart manufacturing going global. Chang'an Auto is through the ecosystem overseas model, vividly interprets how Chinese brands can achieve a strategic leap from growing out to growing in by deeply integrating with the local market. Thank you, Mr. Kwan, for your sharing. So for our keynote speech session is now over. Next, we have a 5-minute break. Next, we will go into a series release and also a roundtable discussion. Thank you, everyone.
尊敬的各位贵宾，欢迎大家回到我们陆海财经论。
Welcome everyone to the 2025 Land Sea Economic Forum. I'm the host, Tracy Chang. I'm very happy to witness the following exciting sessions with you. As one of the dual hub cities of the China-Singapore Strategic Connectivity Initiative, Chongqing is not only a city of humanity built on 3,000 years of historical and cultural heritage, but also a city of the future that promotes exchange and mutual learning between land and sea civilization and promotes the coordinated development of land and sea economies.
like strings stretched across the vast land of southwest China. Over hundreds of millions of years, plate tectonics have sculpted Chongqing's precipitous, solid and layered terrain into a natural masterpiece. It is also a river city and a city of mist. Across its 82,400 square kilometers of land, the Yangtze River flows from southwest to northeast through Chongqing, with over 5,000 rivers crisscrossing the region. The rivers and gorges embrace each other, and mountains and waters surround the city. It is a melting pot of immigrants from all directions, a wellspring of inspiration for poets and scholars, and a happy home to 32 million people today. It is a multifaceted city, forged through time and transformation. The people of Chongqing have broken through the natural barriers of mountains and rivers, opening paths to a broader world. What is Chongqing? It is a book, printed in high-definition 4-color. Its image grain is visible to the naked eye. It features more than 220 exquisite photographic works and precise scientific drawings. With a blank spine sewn binding, it lays flat at 180 degrees and includes a 1-meter-long fold-out page. Its cover features embossed maps and laser detailing. At a glance, you can get the full panorama of Chongqing. This book is Chongqing's invitation to the world and a letter to every Chongqing native as well. Bilingual version in Chinese and English. Hi, I'm Chongqing will be unveiled.
This wonderful promotional video just now has let us know about Chongqing, a charming city of mountains and rivers. Chongqing is not. Let's now welcome Miss Zhang Chong, Director General of the Information Office of Chongqing Municipal People's Government, as well as Mr. Duan Jiaqiang, Vice Chairman of the Board and General Manager of CITIC Press Group. Let's welcome them. Let's invite our guest of honor to stand in front of the screen. Let's raise your hand and to press that button. So let's count down. 3, 2, 1. So we are launching Hi, I am Chongqing, and this allows the world to hear the voice of Chongqing. Let's take a group photo. Thank you. Thanks to both our leaders. Please get seated. This bilingual Chinese and English version is created by CITIC, and we are going to get into the collaboration of international copyright. We are coming with various publications to contribute to the world, the wisdom of China. So we are collaborating with the World Publication and to work together and to come up with a deep technology book. And let's welcome the General Manager of CITIC Press, and also William Eckers.
Political Sciences from Spring Nature. 我们一起掌声有请新加坡世界科技出版集团总经理李志伟博士 ，Dr. Li Chiwai, General Manager, World Scientific Publishing. 请3位嘉宾共同 copyright cooperation. Now, gentlemen, please stand next to the spotlight and put your arms on the circle. Now, we're going to count down together. Prepare well. All right. 3, 2, 1. 正式启动.
Launch. Let us look forward to the more exciting publications from the collaboration. Let's give another round of applause to our guests. We are looking forward to more significant publications and classic books from this collaboration. Thank you, everyone. Next, we will witness a very meaningful moment, very significantly meaningful moment, which is the official establishment of the Bridging News Singapore station. This news bridge that spans mountains and seas will be based in Chongqing and look to ASEAN. It will record every important moment of development of the China-Singapore exchanges. Let us have a round of applause to invite Ms. Zhang Qiong.
People's Government。同时，我们也有请西部国际传播中心主任陈东燕女士 ，Ms. Catherine Chen, Director, Western China International Communication Organization。掌声有请两位女士上台，共同为陆海财经新加坡站揭牌。掌声有请哦，我们的陈先生，是陆海从哦，还有我们的陈先生，来，掌声有请。Of Bridging News Singapore Station. Are we ready? 好，我们一起来倒数，好不好？3、2、1，正式揭牌。好，请我们的3位。
We will ask the 2-3 guests to stay on the stage so that we will jointly write a new chapter in the international communication of the new international land sea trade corridor. Thank you, everyone. Today, we will also witness a very important moment, another important moment, which is the China Construction Bank Singapore branch vision, the unveiling of Vision Foundation. China Construction Bank, or CCB, has been rooted in Singapore since 1988 and has been deeply rooted for 27 years. It has not only continued to expand its layout in the financial field, but also actively participated in the philanthropic and welfare circle and has won a lot of recognition from all walks of life. Today, CCB, together with Temasek Trust, will officially unveil the first Chinese institution. And also, it is the first overseas charitable donation guidance of foundation, the CCB Vision Foundation.
Singapore branch， 淡马锡信托首席财务官蔡恒基先生 ，Mr. Chai Ki Hung, Chief Financial Officer of Temasek Trust。让他们一起共同为建行为人基金会揭幕。They will jointly unveil the CCB SG Vision Foundation。好，请两位嘉宾将我们的手放置于屏幕之上，准备就绪。3、2、1，正式启动。掌声送给我们的嘉宾，请两位嘉宾留步。那么接下来呢，我们也将有请建行新加坡分行的副行长苏锦、淡马锡信托基金会顾问总监 Ms. Joyce Teal 上台。Let's welcome Ms. Joyce Teal and also 我们的副行长苏锦，两位请上台。Now let's take a moment together. Please step forward. 我给大家稍微介绍一下我们背后。
Let me introduce a bit about the logo of our SG Vision Foundation. So benevolence and CCB. So it is the logo is foundation incorporates a phoenix, which is a symbol of West Oriental culture, which means benevolence, wisdom, hope, and rebirth. CCB's blue symbolizes rationality and credibility. Orange red conveys love and enthusiasm. The foundation adheres to the charitable concept of equal emphasis on rationality and warmth, which demonstrates CCB's firm social responsibility and deep humanistic care. We believe that the SG Vision Foundation will gather charitable forces, promote social collaboration, and convey public welfare concepts and work together to create a better future. Next, after taking a group photo, we will move a bit to the right side of the stage.
Charity as the core of Chinese culture. We're so proud of what China Construction Bank has done. Okay, 那接下来
Next, we will welcome the launch of the ceremony of the first donation for the CCB SG Vision Foundation. This donation will fully support the Singapore-China Youth Internship Exchange Program, or YES, which is implemented by Business China together with CCB, or YES. The project was jointly promoted by the Ministry of Education Singapore and also Ministry of Human Resources and Social Security of China in 2019. It's the first bilateral cross-border internship program project signed by Singapore government and is jointly hosted by Business China and National Talent Mobility Center of China. As the first founding measure for the foundation, CCB will also establish YES China Construction Bank Award to further promote in-depth exchanges between the young people in China and Singapore. Also to help enterprises to cultivate the nurture of talents with international vision, as to enable global development and future business. So let's now welcome our witness guest, Ms. Sun Yan Pei. So incoming Chief Executive Officer of Business China, Ms. Kwek Po Hyok.
let's welcome Mr. Chua Ki-hong, CFO of Temasek Trust. He's already on stage, I believe. All right, we have more guests coming. 我们还要有请中国建设银行重庆市分行行长周涛先生 ，Mr. Zhou Tao, President of China Construction Bank Chongqing Branch， 还有我们的淡马锡信托基金会的顾问总监 Joyce Teal 女士 ，Ms. Joyce Teal, Director at TT Foundation Advisors。好，接下来这个 moment 是非常非常值得我们。
The next moment is something that we should take a camera fast, quickly, and to take a memory of it. Now, we invite Mr. Su Jin, on behalf of CCB, to donate a check to YES project. Mr. Wang Yao will receive this check from CCB's donation. So let us catch this moment with our camera. Let us witness this very, very memorable moment.
好，那接下来呢
？Next, we will invite. We are also going to invite Mr. Chen Jing from Chongqing Daily. Next, we will invite the director of Chongqing Daily, Mr. Chen Jing, and also WCICO representative to come on stage, and also to cooperate on the YES project, so as to continue to promote the talent and connectivity and exchange of talents between Singapore and China.
我们一起合影留念。我们再次把掌声送给大家。A big round of applause. Thank you so much. 好，感谢各位嘉宾，非常感谢大家，大家可以台下就坐。感谢各位。那么接下来是我们增长更多知识和信息的时刻。
Now this is time for us to grow in our knowledge. On May 20, 2025, China and ASEAN jointly announced the completion of the 3.0 version of the Free Trade Area negotiation. This inclusive, modern, comprehensive, and mutually beneficial upgraded agreement marks the entry of the China-ASEAN community of shared future into a new stage. Next, CITIC Securities will release the new round of technological changes and regional market dividends 2025 Southeast Asian Industrial Development Investment Report. To explain to us, let's invite our analyst, Mr. Zhu Linning, Vice President.
Vice President, Macro Strategist of Chief Economist Team, China Securities. He will share with us the 2025 ASEAN Investment Report from his think tank. Now, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. 来，有请我们朱先生上台。
可以，好的。那么。
So I'm very honored to participate in this event and to be invited by CITIC and also the organizer. Let me introduce myself. I'm from Beijing, and I have been doing analysis and research in the macroeconomy, and the report basically is about the investment, and from our perspective, how can we invest and invest in various industry in the coming season, and also some of my individual investment deployment for last year. This year, up to now, China Security, in terms of IPO financing, we are ranked #1, and our understanding is that the current situation, we have two. First is a first round of industrial revolution, and this is our amazing time. And from investment standpoint, this is actually an important industrial revolution phase, and our answer is regional integration or regional dividend, and this is our main direction in our deployment. Due to time constraint, we will just talk about some of the key points. So I want to talk about 3 points. First is about the macroeconomy, why Asian market, or especially China and ASEAN, will be the future focus. And second is how do we select the industries and collaborate. And third is that in terms of we will talk about the investment and financing solution. And first part, this is about, let me jump to this one. So this is our current starting point, and we can see from here that China and ASEAN are the only high growth as well as low inflation region. And in 2023, 2024, data are here, and we have about a growth of 4 to 5%, 0 to 2% of inflation. This is actually considered as a low inflation. So this is actually the very good environment. So there are some specific environment, but it's not a low growth and high inflation or even recession. So this region is not in this situation. So this is the starting point. So, and the potential of the region, how can we? So once we invest, we will need 3 to 5 years or even longer, 5 to 10 years to have value investment to earn a stable return. So the future economic potential, we will talk about 3 points. First is population, second is funds, third is production factors, quality. And so in terms of population, we have about 1.4 billion population in China and ASEAN, whether it's the quality or the number of population that is sufficient. And second is about funds. So there are 2 parts. So capital market, first is currently our FDI flows, ASEAN and Southeast Asia is actually the fastest growing region. And in China, we have some changes. The interest rate is going downwards, and FDI inflow is not as fast. so we can see that the funds have a great need for investment. So Southeast Asia is actually an area that actually need investment. So this actually match the requirement of both sides. And second is that once we have a high population and the education level is also progressing very high, and we can see that our graduates, number of graduates is actually the highest globally. And so this is actually assured of our future manpower. So this is from the United Nations data. So under such currency, so 2 days ago, we saw that the China and ASEAN free trade area, we have completed the negotiation and we will continue to push forward. And from all this, so from this narrow defined tariff, we're going to continue to expand further, and we want to have economic integration. We want to integrate our industries. So from the industries, we have a very good policy space, and the market is continue to put in investment. So from an investment standpoint, the focus is on a digital economy, digitalization. So this is actually a new round of industry that will help progress the economy. And also oil and gas is also, there are some changes. And also green economy, we continue to improve in our efficiency. And we want to be interconnected. So this is not just about constructing road and also information pathway and also cultural pathway has to be connected. And here there are a lot of investment projects and also specific industries that we can invest in. So so Singapore and Chongqing, two very good example. We have very good cases. And Singapore, based on the latest data in ASEAN, half of the funds are actually invested in Singapore. So Singapore is a window, whether it's manufacturing or a service industry. We are developing all these industries. And for Chongqing, it is actually the most important city for the Western opening up. So it's leading in China. So yesterday on the way here, Chongqing, for the first time, in the first half of the year, the consumption is actually ranked #1 for the first time. So, so this is actually the result of the Western development as we open up the Western development. So that's the benefit that we reap as a result of opening up. So last, I'd like to talk about the solution. And since last year, City, we have come out with a brand called if you want to go overseas, look for City, and you want to go to China, look for City. So in 1979, we started with our reform and opening up. So by the end of last year, so and we actually we have 12. And we have been growing rapidly. So by now, so we actually cover all aspects of a financial industry, and we have wide industry, and also we cover all the various industries. So so with such system, so we have one full basket of solution. So first we have the individual solution from insurance to visa and so on, and also from China to Singapore to Southeast Asia. And second is about the investment and financing for businesses. So there are a lot of first is about the equity investment, primary market and secondary market, and also bond investing. So on the left, you can see that some of our subsidiary, there are dealing with the various type of investment, including venture capital and also bond investment, both onshore and offshore. And here, City Securities is where I am from. So, so we are one of the largest subsidiary of a City Group, and so we have 5 major industry in financial services, advanced intelligent production, advanced material, new consumption, as well as new urbanization. So, so we have and advanced material, you can see metal resources and so on. And also material R&D and new consumption. We have a critic press group, and also we can see there are also other company and new urbanization. We have done a lot of project under Belt and Road Initiative, and also we have healthcare and so on. So these are our integrated investment solution, whether it's in finance or other area. So we have a lot of opportunity for collaboration to consult us. And so for future, our vision and we actually make use of our theme, which is our shared future, so that will actually benefit our entire ASEAN Asia region. So 10 years ago, President Xi Jinping visited Singapore, and he actually gave a speech in National University of Singapore. He actually made a closing remark here. So talking about, so looking to future, whether it's 10 years, 20 years, Asia is once again at the forefront of leading historical development. So, so we are born here and we raised here, and our investment destiny will depend on it. So we hope that our investment will go to 5 areas that include the trade, the investment. We want to build our investment. We want to build prosperity together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chu, for his exciting sharing. I think when companies who have plan to internationalize will be able to learn a lot of insights and strategic information from his sharing. Next, we will go into the roundtable discussion session. Against the backdrop of the underwave of digital economy, cross-border e-commerce is ushering an unprecedented development opportunities, and artificial intelligence technology is reshaping every segment of this industry. Next roundtable, we will discuss on how we can use AI to change to empower cross-border e-commerce and to upgrade the entire chain. So we'll discuss on this. We are very honored to welcome 3 distinguished guests from in this area. First,
Daniel Chua, Head of Commercial Southeast Asia at World First and International. 腾讯智慧零售与生活产业解决方案与客户成功总经理王默先生 ，Mr. Mark Wang, General Manager of Solutions and Customer Success, Tencent Smart Retail and Life Industries. 还有我们的领创集团首席幕僚官、首席市场官李密女士 ，Ms. Li Mi, Chief of Staff and CMO, Advanced Intelligence Group. 让我们以热烈的掌声欢迎各位嘉宾上台。Let's give a warm round of applause to all our guests to come on stage.
Thank you, everyone. Actually, today, when we look at our topic for discussion today, I'm very happy because when we talk about Chinese companies going into Southeast Asia, has talked about this topic for a very long time. I have heard for the most common feedback is that because China is a very commoditized, homogenized market, right? Because we are 1.3 billion, we are 90% of the people speak Mandarin. So our culture is all very similar within our country. When we talk about Southeast Asia, when you look at it very closely, actually, that's the Southeast Asian market. We have been formed by many different countries, Singapore, Vietnam, Malaysia, or Thailand, etc. They have their own political and culture and language system. So when we go into the internationalize into Southeast Asia, it's not so simple, right? When we want to take out China, but you take out Southeast Asia, it's not so easy, right? Because Southeast Asia is so diverse. So when you go global, go into Southeast Asia, so we're facing the diversified requirements of humanitarian in terms of culture and also consumers? How do you understand them? How aware of them, of you are they of their of the diversity?
So I think, you know, for Chinese companies coming out of to Southeast Asia, as Tracy rightfully pointed out, there's really even though there's strong connections between China and ASEAN for the longest time, but the need to be localized is always there, right? It's a diverse culture. When you cross the border from Singapore to Malaysia, it's different. Malaysia to Thailand is different, right? In terms of religion, in terms of language. So I think the common kind of knowledge that enterprise has to take back is that the importance of localization in Southeast Asia. That's the way to grow the business moving forward.
That's right. You're talking about, even you think of the culture between Singapore and Malaysia is different. Just imagine going from China to Thailand to Vietnam. It's also quite different. So people have to be prepared. Corporations have to be prepared to adapt to local cultures. Thank you very much, Mr. Chua. 那下一个我们来问我们的王总好。
Next, we ask about Mr. Wang. When you go into internationalization into Southeast Asia, what do you think?
I'm coming from, you know, in China, especially with Tencent, we have a lot of interaction with the representative from the consumer market industry, and we realized that the Southeast Asia population, the mid-level middle class, actually it's actually quite different from China. So China's GDP has been increasing rapidly. So and the increase in the young people, it's not as fast as the Southeast Asia market, and we can see that a lot of very young, active, mentally active youth, they for example, the style in the first few years, initial years, there are a lot of all this skincare and beauty products that actually come into Southeast Asia. So when you talk about cosmetic and skincare, so the other thing is about the fashion brand. China, their competitive this supply chain in fashion, so it's been well recognized by the consumer in Southeast Asia, and that will actually reflect the Southeast Asians consumers are more willing to try new brands. So there are a lot of different styles, and also even the retailers in Southeast Asia, they are able to find a positioning in the market. So I think this is an area that we should have more interaction. Yes, I think this is really good, especially we talk about beauty and cosmetic. There are a lot of import. So I'm actually from Advanced Intelligence Group, and talking about the company, you might not be familiar, but we have a celebrity brand is Atomy, and we have two platforms. One is finance. We deal with all this consumer-driven data-driven platform, and on the right side we have a digital platform. So advanced as AI, we have been rooted in Southeast Asia. So we use AYC to do KYC, KYB, and also and so both platforms are actually we actually have deep collaboration with DeepTalk, Amazon, Lazada, all these e-commerce platforms. So looking at the Southeast Asia, I think there are a few characteristics. So Mr. Wang have talked about it, is we have a very young population. This market, the average age is 30 years and below, and those that actually spend on the e-commerce is actually from 18 to 40 years, and they highly rely on the mobile phone to consume. So they probably spend more than 7 hours on the phone every day. So so we need a content platform. Will have a lot of opportunities. Second, Daniel also mentioned that we cannot treat Southeast Asia as one common community. We have to actually refine them. So there are actually a lot of uniqueness. For example, in Singapore, as an example, in Singapore, people are more particular about the quality and the brand. And on e-commerce, for example, household electrical appliances sales are very good. And Malaysia and Indonesia, there are a lot of Muslim community. So because of their religion habits, so and some of the festivity, we actually create some products that are actually suitable for them. So for Thailand, they love entertainment. They love a lot of things that are beautiful. So they like some of the Japanese and the Korean fashion. So this is a characteristic. So the third point I'd like to mention is that as compared to other countries, it's different. In Southeast Asia, unbanked population is still quite large. So a lot of consumers, although they actually consume on e-commerce, the method of payment is still cash. So for example, when the goods are delivered, then they will bring out the cash and they will pay for the goods. So I think so digital payment and digital finance are actually a lot of opportunity where we can really push forward inclusive finance to help them to provide a convenient payment system. So I'd like to ask you another additional question. You talk about your company helping Lazada, Shopee provide a lot of digital knowledge. So that include Jingdong and Taobao in China. They have also deal with some challenges. For example, Douyin, TikTok, and Xiaohongshu. They are very, very popular. So this brand, so in the past we have Tmall and Jingdong. They have all this. So now we use celebrity to do live stream selling. And for example, in China, so it's very similar. So all this digital platform, we are basically it's a decentralized platform. So do we see this trend in Southeast Asia, and how can brands actually establish their brand and not to get a celebrity to actually promote the product? So comparing Southeast Asia and China, so we are actually forefront in terms of using celebrity to promote sales through the live stream. So so now we are slowly migrating this to Singapore. So we were looking at the local habits. It is quite successful in Southeast Asia. So on a broader perspective, if we can propose to e-commerce, first is that we need to penetrate into the culture. We have to fully understand because Southeast Asia, every country have their very unique cultural characteristic. For example, Indonesia, they have a high proportion of a Muslim community. So our company, when we do marketing in Indonesia, we want to reach the mass market. For example, so we look for a top football league, and we actually sponsor them, and we actually collaborate with them to carry out with a lot of activities. So a lot of cities in Indonesia are in the remote rural area, so we have to do a lot of offline activities. So we have to do various events, and then when we go to the rural area, we'll help them build library and schools, and to actually demonstrate to them that we are part of the society. And also the Hari Raya was just over. We actually organized some events. We actually rented some bars and to help our customers bring them back to their home. So because these are some of the local attributes. So we talk about celebrity. Besides celebrities, a lot of our consumers, they are also our KOC. So for example, our company in Philippines, we in terms of users, we have a 2 million user group, and in terms of our market investment, it's still quite low, and we use a lot of our consumer as our brand ambassador, and we help them provide some wow moments, some special experience, so that they are willing to bring all this surprising moment and share it on social media and let the friends see. And without any promotion, the friends would say, wow, this product is really, the product experience is really unique and it's very convenient. So we will have a lot of referral audience. And last, I'd like to mention, we also do a lot of our own community. So in our private zone. So we have to, for example, the young people, they are very particular about environment protection and also empowering women. So we actually collaborate with our users to co-create some products. So let them feel that we are part of the brand, so we can actually build a better community. So that's a very good analysis. I'd like to ask Mr. Wang. Mr. Lim, Madam Lim mentioned that in Southeast Asia we have e-commerce developing very far. But in terms of cross-border payment, it is still not advanced. There are a lot of people still relying on cash. So when Tencent go overseas, you basically are providing services. So in terms of cross-border settlement, how do we handle this kind of payment? And for SME, they might not have their own infrastructure to support, and they may not have economy of scale to support such a system. Do you have any proposal or suggestion? I think in terms of in Singapore, I also feel that Singapore, in terms of a payment as a consumer, I think Singapore positioning, it is actually closer to Japan and Korea. So for Tencent, we provide WeChat Pay. So yesterday when I reached Changi Airport, I realized that it's actually really seamless. And later on, when I took the ride, it was actually very easy. So Southeast Asia is a large market. So every country has different rates of development. And from our perspective, we currently B2C perspective, and also the connection linking with the WeChat products, we have a very mature system, and also with a local bank and acquirers. I think we are still working on that. I think we are confident. So we hope that WeChat Pay will have more opportunity to go overseas, whether for Chinese businesses go overseas.
Question to ask you, but I'm going to simplify it because it sounds like code words to me. I want it to be very simple, so anybody who's not so equipped with financial jargons, they would also understand. So obviously, like Ms. Lee and Ms. Wang just said, cross-border payment is essential to the success of cross-border e-commerce. You have to make sure that people can pay for their goods or services, and there are a lot of different elements involved. For exchange rates and how do you settle payments, and people with different cultures and different regulations. Before a ginormous organization like Ant International, what kind of advice would you give to small or medium-sized enterprises? How do they integrate themselves into this massive e-commerce system without using the traditional platforms such as Strip or anything like that? Is there anything in particular you would recommend, especially to Chinese companies?
Yes, I think at the end of the day, Worth as a payments company, we are a financial service provider. I think the main thing is that we have to follow our clients closely, right, in terms of their needs. So did emphasize a lot on localization. As mentioned, the shift from marketplace selling direct to consumers and now social commerce is a shift in terms of how people sell and market themselves. So with social commerce, there's definitely a different need on how you market yourself in Southeast Asia. So investing in brand, investing in understanding how to market in local markets will be the key. But that said, Worth, we aim to be a partner to simplify, the needs of these merchants. First and foremost, we are looking to also expand our presence globally, especially in Southeast Asia. Regulatory licensing is the key in this Southeast Asia landscape. Every country is regulated by different financial regulations, and I think that's the key to doing business here. So that's number one. We are actively pursuing and speaking to regulators on how we can engage their e-commerce merchants or SMEs better. And next also, I think with this shift, the needs of e-commerce merchants get a little bit more sophisticated. It's not just purely cross-border payments. They look for more sophisticated products, right? More FX needs, secured and much faster payments. right? And also to some extent, some might even ask for financing solution, right? So with that, WorldFirst, we also have shifted from being a cross-border payments company to a one-stop shop payments platform for SMEs, especially cross-border SMEs. Last but not least, I think a few more points, sorry. To be able to achieve that, we also need to work very closely with our financial institution partners to provide more wholesome solution for SMEs. And on top of that, with WorldFirst, we also need to work much closely with our ecosystem partners. The main thing is to help companies, not just companies from China coming to Southeast Asia, but also in Southeast Asia to grow. So we work very closely with platforms like logistic partners, SaaS platform, and even marketplaces. And recently, we also work much closely with social commerce platforms to guide them, to help them, to give them the support for them to thrive in Southeast Asia.
That's very important because we're thinking about cross-border payment. Whether it's easy or complicated, it's really a life or death situation. I remember my economics professor from Columbia, he has told me, he said, if you're going to sell something to people, you ought to make sure that it's as easy as possible for them to pay. You can't make it complicated. That's not going to work. But our topic today actually is related to artificial intelligence. And I want to ask you something that's a little bit plagued by financial jargons, but we'll try our best. I heard Ant International has innovation called Money Express Financial Technology Innovation. It's a serious innovation that your company is making to make cross-border e-commerce payment as easy as possible. So how does your innovation, this platform, intersect with traditional cool features Alibaba has, such as Alibaba Cloud, or there's something I remember called Tongyi Q1, something like that, right? So what are they and how do they intersect?
Yeah, so for us, there's two business use cases that we focus quite significantly on when it comes to AI applications. Firstly is on risk management. Secondly is on customer service related matters. These two are the paramount, I would say, it's very important for us to conduct our business safely for our customers and make sure we have happy customers globally. So for AI, we deploy AI for risk management related matters. We are able to use AI for our onboarding, which is our eKYC, where we are able to detect fraudulent documents, and most importantly, the most recent trends on deepfake by intercepting up to 99% of them. We also use AI to run through our transaction monitoring, which can be laborious in a more traditional kind of institutions. We are using AI to detect, fraudulent activities, AML-related activities at our backend. I think we also launched our chatbot agent called Antia in WorldFirst, which is able to communicate in 80+ language, able to give customers up to 24/7 kind of support. And most of the queries are being adopted at 80%, and more than 80% at first try. So these are the two key functions for WorldFirst that we launched with AI. Back to your questions with regards to Tianwen or Alibaba. For WorldFirst, we use a whole suite of AI applications. It's not just Tianwen. We also look at more mainstream AI applications or LLMs like DeepSeek, like ChatGPT, depending on which domain is more suited for, as we are actually doing a global business. So I think that's the key for us to adopt a whole range of LLMs or AI applications.
So these AI applications really are going to change the way not only we shop, but also the shopping platform operate as well. OK, 那我下一个问题想问一下我们同学。
I'd like to ask Mr. Wang, Madam Wang, so Tongxun has been actually very outstanding in terms of going overseas. So talking about Tencent retail, smart retail and life, how can you actually provide a better AI knowledge to the businesses? Can you introduce to us and your this ecosystem that you have? So let me talk about an example. Recently, talking about cross-border, that's e-commerce as well as cross-border service. Recently, we actually worked with Japan. About a restaurant review platform. So you can see that in China we have a lot of tourists they want to go to Japan. So when they book a restaurant, so it is very challenging whether it's in English or in Chinese. So our users all have a WeChat. So in Japan, so we actually collect the data for the restaurant review, and we actually do a small app for our users. So when they go to Japan, it is very convenient. So from Chinese, they do browsing, and through WeChat Pay, they can actually make booking and payment. So it can be a one-stop apps that we're doing. Yeah, so for AI, we have a lot of opportunity. First is that AI is able to help our system to understand our supplier, and that include the nurse and the pricing of the merchant, and also consumer. When they browse the data, they can actually provide real-time feedback. So with AI technology, whether you are in restaurant or you are at a retail shop, they are able to precisely provide the supply chain, and the supply chain can actually match with the consumer's preferences. So this is actually a huge potential. So the ecosystem of Tencent on the cloud, we using some of the data from our certain region, so we can actually make use of the business data from the underlying cloud infrastructure, and we can provide the technology services and software services to give them a one-stop solution. So thanks for your sharing. So now I'd like to continue with our AI topic, and I'd like to ask Madam Lee that so AI. So you know, you're a woman entrepreneur. We're so proud of you. So from from AI intelligence, whether it's a cross-border e-commerce or payment settlement and various platforms, how does our AI empower them? So AI is so hot now. So our company have actually started rooted in AI 10 years ago. So we set up the headquarters in Singapore. So and in prediction AI, we have actually been powering the merchant. For example, a consumer digital onboarding. We will do two parts of the work. One is your authentication and of the identity. So in China, in Southeast Asia, that's actually a very massive work. And in the past, we use manual. That's very laborious. And now with the Gen AI, we are able to establish a small model to actually do a batch processing. So the accuracy, it's actually enhanced. And also face recognition. We talk about deep fake. So that's really scary. So the technology is actually getting stronger. So I'm very delighted to tell you that the other side of deepfake is actually our company. We will continue to do research to study Gen AI. What are the new technology? How can we? What are the new application? For example, it has this ability to generate. You know, this is something that with our naked eyes we cannot see, but with our technology we are able to identify where there are some noises or there are some differences. For example, your eyes, we can actually see the differences. So digital modeling. So the other thing is that in e-commerce we have been encountering this issue. I hope that there are more personalized recommendations for me. So based on my own interests and my needs, so my company actually come up with a chat box, and so we actually do a one-to-one with our dialogue with our user. So to understand their real need and also emotional need. And for example, we have one experiment. The company has, we have an image. So young people like cat. So our users may have a different personality and different consumption habits. So we develop different type of cats. So when I talk to a particular user, so I will actually bring out a cat that is more similar to this user's character. So it's very easy to build trust relationship. Yeah, so and then we can actually do some recommendation. Another thing is about the customer service, and now we have been using massively is that in some countries, some markets, about 70% of these user orders are actually handled by AI. So the customers' satisfaction actually did not decline, but in fact it actually increased. So here, it will not be totally relying on AI. Our system will actually differentiate under certain circumstances. We might need actually human services. And in terms of customer satisfaction, we realize that it has increased tremendously. So I think our times is up. So I want to thank everyone. I remember in 2014, I actually interviewed TikTok CEO. They were actually 今日头条's founder. So I remember the office was very simple. He told me he said that in future our operator and our AI program will understand you, will know you more than yourself. So I don't know whether this is scary. And so we are in. So this is actually very exciting. We really look forward to the future, and we hope that we have more fantastic development. Thanks to all our guests. So now we want to move into the second round of our roundtable. So let me have our workers help us. So for us, how many of us, whether we are in, we have actually found Hei Wukong duck monkey when we actually that's about Journey to the West. So I never play games, but I often found this black monkey, and there's always like 100,000 likes. And so whether it's myself or anyone have actually watched Nerja. So I've actually watched this Nerja movie. So I want to share with you some of the very exciting data. So in the past few years, China IP export have actually created explosive growth. From 2000, it was 15 billion, and actually increased tremendously. So this is really a staggering growth. So our economics and our culture are actually facing a lot of challenges. How can we ensure that the China's IP will continue to export? So this is our next topic, and we have invited a few people. First, there's Miniso Vice President and CMO Robin Liu, and Tencent Video, head of Overseas Business Center Xiang Juan, and also Chongqing Maya Media President and General Manager Wang Li, and Lightspeed Singapore Office Director Barry Liu.
This is going to be a very interesting topic about China cultural export. That wasn't something talked about just 10 years ago. 10年前都还没有人讲这个话题。今天我们这个文化
10 years ago, nobody was talking about this, but now we are talking about this. Cultural export is already a very major theme. Our 4 guests today are also involved, whether it's in Chinese cultural export, and also there are some financial areas are also the experts. I want to ask you, when did you start your companies? Why do you suddenly think of going to the Southeast Asian markets? What kind of a background or context, or what kind of opportunities are existing that allow you to make this decision? And what was the concern at the time? Good morning. I'm from Miniso. Actually, we are quite a young retail brand. We were established only about 12 years ago. So you can see that it can be a global brand. You can see that when after founded for 2 years, we are already going to overseas exploration. The first stop of our overseas exploration is in Singapore. Now we have now covered about 111 countries and territories globally. The first stop is from Southeast Asia and Singapore. At the time, it was not really an active choice to internationalize, because when we look at the domestic market, they are very innovative. They use Chinese industrial chain that cover a lot of domestic appliances with high price performance ratio. So when we started to open the stores very fast, and our offline grow also very fast. So using the Guangzhou Expo Fair, a lot of Southeast Asian businessmen came to Guangzhou to see us, and they saw us and wanted to work with us, so that we brought these products to Southeast Asia. That's why we went into Southeast Asia. So for today, we will talk about ASEAN, the 10 countries in ASEAN. We are all in all of them, and 5 of them, the 5 major countries are we are directly operate the companies in the 5 major countries in ASEAN. So we also share this with our peers, is that we recommend that if you want to go internationalize, you go ASEAN first, because culturally are closer, geographically are closer, and also the barrier is lower, and also when we go into the Southeast Asian market, we have rarely been disappointed. Now we want to ask to Xiang Juan, I know that you have been very successful in Southeast Asia, but what was the background or the context for you to go into Southeast Asia? Can you share with us? I come from Tencent Video. I am in charge of the overseas business of Tencent Video. So our overseas business has 2 parts. One is that our excellent product from China to bring it to the global markets, and Southeast Asia is also a core market for us. Then the second part is that we will also go use Southeast Asia in Thailand and Indonesia, also to produce our own contents, also to produce some Thailand productions, and so Indonesian productions to service their own market. So we have also this overseas market TV. Talking about the export, also internationalization. Of course, from the start, we start from the exporting our Chinese contents. So because we have a lot of the Chinese contents, from variety to video to animation. Actually, the earliest time was 2016. We started to export Chinese contents about 10 years ago. So it was from publishing of our contents, which is also publish our contents into a lot of overseas platforms to increase our influence and also to get some commercial returns. In this publishing, it is not from our own platform, but only in 2019 that we started to build our own platform and build our own products and contents. At the time, on one hand is that Chinese contents itself, the quality has been increasing. Thinking about 10 years ago, you think about the internet movies, internet series, they were not very high quality, but now a lot of people like to watch media contents on streaming, by streaming. So whether it's a long series or a shorter series, they are also of high quality. As our quality of our own Chinese contents are increasing and improving, we also want to expand into the international markets. That's natural development. So if you look at the overall Southeast Asia market, they are also increasingly popular. Chinese contents are increasingly popular in Southeast Asia. So in 2019, we started to officially set up our platform and overseas, also setting up our offices overseas. So our overseas office, now we have about 200 employees and are responsible for the production and also for the management and operation. Now we have Mr. Wang to share with us. Mr. Wang, I come from Chongqing Maya. I'm also a person in charge for our overseas business. Compared to the other seniors, 2 seniors, we are quite new in overseas expansion. We only started to internationalize in 2014. After doing some research investigation on November, then we started to go globalization. So in November, we started to officially go into Southeast Asia in 2014. What do we have with this opportunity to bring Chinese cultural product to overseas market? Is that it started from the strategy of the national strategy for cultural export. It gave us an opportunity to go overseas, and also the mobile internet started to penetrate more widely globally. It also given us more space to develop. Also can make us reach more audience. So the third point is that the short and mini series, it is a very short format, right? It is more immersive kind of expression. It will be more matched with people's habit of getting and watching contents. So that has helped us to actually smoothen the way for us to share to export our cultural products. Next we have Barry Liu. Good afternoon. I'm Barry Liu. I'm from Tencent Lightspeed office. based on my understanding, we went out overseas in quite early, in about 10 years ago. At the time, it's more about product exports or using investment to incubate some of the enterprises locally to sell our to transmit our Tencent's products. So after that, subsequently, it's no longer solely about product export. Then we also start to have people overseas to have our own team to publish our products. So for the most recent few years, we started to move our entire business segment and also to put our more of an entire product operation in overseas market. So if you see, first, like the Tencent Games, when we are very determined in going overseas for Tencent Games, we have been trying very hard in the past 10 years. So we have always been finding a better way to allow more Chinese companies to go overseas to be able to survive in overseas markets. So today, our Lightspeed office, we came to Singapore 10 years ago. At that time, I was one of the first to come here. I started to build a team here, to build the localization team here, and also to bring some experts back in from China. And also, I also had to build up our service system, our technology, and our also production capability to bring to Singapore. We also want to build our cooperation system, our upstream and downstream collaboration in the overseas market. So now you can see that it's a more comprehensive internationalization system. What I want to say is quite similar to what they have been said earlier. So there are some overseas expansion dividend and opportunity and also growth prospect when you go overseas. So this is some of the reasons. So now a lot of international, as a streaming media going international, you are one of the pioneers, right, Ms. Xiang? So there are many different productions of contents being produced. There are some period drama. There are also some dramas that are specifically produced for the Southeast Asian market. Also some of the variety shows for the young people here. So when you look at the different markets, how do we strike a balance? How do we strike a balance? How much is from the Chinese content? How much is locally produced? How do we strike a balance? So first, we have to predominantly have to talk about have to focus on the Chinese contents that are being exported. So this because we don't have additional cost, right? Because it's already present, it's already been produced. So we just localize it on the local platform and then localize it for the local market, and then we can maximize our profit. But for us, this part has been done for many years. Since 2019, we have done this. So in this part, we have already got a lot of significant profits and efficiency from that. Now I want to talk about localized production. For example, like Indonesian market, they are not so they do not have much understanding of the Chinese contents. When you go to international, why will you go to Vietnam and Thailand first? Because there is already a foundation for them. Because Chinese variety or contents are popular in Vietnam. But for Thailand, they may like more about Chinese period drama. But Chinese period drama may not be popular only in Southeast Asia, but they are also quite widely received in other parts of the world, including North America. So for people's understanding of China, they are talking about the period drama, those who are wearing the ancient fashion and firefly there, some of the ancient civilization. So people's understanding are there. So when we have some internationally recognized actors in this period drama, it will be very easy to proliferate. Now modern drama are now becoming popular now, just like Korean modern drama. Is also quite similar to them now. So in the past few years, in our Chinese modern drama is quite similar standard of Korean drama. But in Indonesia, they only like modern drama. They do not like the period drama from China. This probably is something to do with the culture. Maybe they are a Muslim country. They are still some differentiated from the Chinese culture. But Thailand is different. So in terms of the localization of production of the contents, we have to think about these nuances, these differences. In Indonesian market, we must do local product, local contents. But Indonesia, you have 280 million population. We cannot overlook this market, right? We cannot ignore this young, very good payment pattern kind of a market. So we cannot ignore them. So in the overseas market, when we produce content, we will start from the drama series, TV series. We will start from Indonesia and Thailand. In Thailand, TV series produced in Thailand is maybe I talk more about Thailand. They also have some segmentation in the drama, whether it's for local market or also for international market. For example, in Korea also same. They are also Korean contents are not only to support local market but also to international market. In Thailand, when we produce content, we need to know whether we are servicing the local population, which is 70 million, or international market. Indonesia, undoubtedly, is for local market. For variety, we have done about 2 years. We have done 2 years of China variety IP being exported in Thailand. We have done 2 years already. So it's quite difficult to produce variety shows. But why do we go into these variety shows? Because when we talk about variety shows exporting, we are talking about Chinese attributes which can be exported into countries which receive these attributes, which can recognize this. We also try to use China IP model to localize in Southeast Asia, but we have to do a lot of localization to be able to adapt to the requirement of the local markets. One category maybe in music. Music is more easily to transcend different countries. So before you create music in China, we already have got very good influence in terms of music industry. So whenever we choose music IP, but in the process of production, we also have a very complicated process. We also have to respect the culture, and also in terms of workflow, in terms of process, in also user reaction is also something that we have to address. We have seen a lot of challenges and difficulties. After 2 years, we have also learned a lot from there. So in terms of the production team, we come from the 10 different countries, right? It's not mainly coming from China only. So how do we allow them to have the connection in terms of music? In terms of recording also is a problem. So there are many problems that we only discover after we actually do it, and then we adapt to it.
Thank you for your sharing, especially in terms of the format of China's items. And I'd like to ask Mr. Wang, so talking about all this TV program that is exported, I even found on YouTube all this short skit produced by US. So I actually don't really like to watch all these things, but you know, it's very easy to catch your attention when you actually browse through YouTube. So basically, these are actually directors from China. They could be actually do all the script writing, even the actors, actresses. It can actually come from China. So currently in Southeast Asia, in terms of the preference for content, it's actually quite consistent with the Chinese audience. For example, some of the very popular drama in China that actually has been well received in Southeast Asia as well. So we use through AI technology, we are able to bring those popular short drama to Southeast Asia. So short drama is actually if we do it if we localize it, it is actually one area that we are exploring. I think it will be feasible, and the local culture and also presenting the local language as well as tradition. So it actually will be a very good way to present it through micro drama. And so I think we can actually bring this. So last question, due to time constraint, I'd like to ask Mr. Liu. So in the past, I don't know what do you do. So as those who actually have a lot of contact with e-commerce, so you might feel that e-com, they say to separate celebrity or to the blogger or the KOL, they say that the economic value of the formula milk is not comparable with the dog. So how much of our user proportion is male? And as for male, so we want to for middle-aged male, they actually like to shop. And so how can we actually squeeze the economic value from the middle-aged men? I think percentage of male, it depends on the games. So we have all this like 和平基因, peaceful gene. So about 70-80% are actually male. And I think so. So how can we actually squeeze money out of mail? I think first of all, your products have to be good, and through playing this product, they are able to feel happy and they feel a sense of achievement, and they are able to, they will have this willingness to spend. So, so the commercialization of game, there are actually a whole suite of logic behind. So it's a bit hard to elaborate, but any good products, if we will give the good experience for the user, that is most important. So perhaps all this game in the future, maybe it's more popular with female. For example, in US, there's this game that's about this character that actually tear, and this beauty. It's actually well received, and about 80% of the user are actually female. So do you have any plan to actually provide some game that is targeted for female? Yes, definitely. In China, we have a lot of successful game that actually fulfill the desire of the female, where they want to look nice, look beautiful, and we actually do have a lot of these games. So we hope that there are more of such games coming into the market. So we want to thank the guests, all our guests, for your participation, and hope that there will be more Chinese IP going overseas. Thank you. Now we want to go through we want to conduct our roundtable number 3, and we want to share with you some of the data. So the economic collaboration between China and ASEAN have been growing, and so we have actually the sales have been growing spectacular, and total amounts is 14 billion, and this actually is a strong test that the vitality between China and ASEAN. So we want to go into our third roundtable, and we are very fortunate to have invited experts from different sectors, including government. So we have the executive vice.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Mr. Deng Guanghuai, Standing Committee Member, Executive Deputy District Mayor, the Communist Party Committee of Yuzhong District, Chongqing. 掌声有请我们马来西亚投资发展局的投资顾问主任维诺旦先生 Mr. Vinothan Telesunathan, Minister Counselor, High Commission of Malaysia, Singapore, Director, Malaysian Investment Development Authority, Singapore. 掌声有请。另外，我们还要邀请亚洲开发银行旗下的信用担保与投资基金首席执行官王宏卫先生，掌声有请。Mr. Wang Hongwei, Chief Executive Office, Credit Guarantee and Investment Facility, Asian Development Bank. 掌声有请新加坡交易所大中华区资本市场主管谢彩涵女士 ，Ms. Chia Cai Han, Head of Greater China Capital Markets, Singapore Exchange. 中信银行国际执行董事总经理、金融市场部总监李超先生 ，Mr. Li Chao, Executive Managing Director, Head of Global Markets Treasury and Market Group, China CITIC Bank International Limited. 同时，我们最后再以非常热烈的掌声，邀请本场圆桌论坛的主持人，中国建设银行新加坡分行市场总监叶波生先生。Let's welcome Mr. Yap Po Sang, Chief Commercial Officer, China Construction Bank, Singapore, and a moderator of today's roundtable discussion. Thank you so much. Now, Mr. Yap, please take over.
Maybe let me answer your question. Middle-aged men, it's not that we do not have money, but my money has been locked.
Good afternoon. I think our time now is a bit short. So I'm very pleased and honored to be the moderator for this last session. As mentioned by Professor Kiso earlier, actually this Land and Sea Economic Forum is a very important forum that can bring together participants not just from China and Singapore, but also from the region. I think the main purpose here is really to discuss, share ideas, and see how we can develop a better trade relationship with China and ASEAN. So I think it's a very challenging session for me to moderate this morning because we have a really diversified group of panel speakers. I think my purpose here is really to extract as much wisdom and insights from the speaker so that all of us have something to take back today and ponder upon, maybe can spark an idea for our own business. So I think I will start the ball rolling by posting the first question to Deng Qizhang. I think Deng Qizhang, you are clearly a very important person in attracting investment into Chongqing and also the economic corridor. So I guess you have seen a lot of companies and also businesses. Maybe from your experience, can you share with us the success cases and what should companies or investors look forward to when they engage with your government? Thanks.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm from the municipal government, Deng Guanghui, and I'm happy to talk about this topic. First of all, I'd like to share about a few key points. First is that in Chongqing has been positioned as the hub for the western region of China. This is one concept. Second, under such background, so we have been also the financial hub for this western area. So third is that why? Because we have advantages, we have foundation, and Yudong district is actually the beginning of the financial sector. And since the Ming Dynasty, there's this way. They say that we have a lot of banks there, and the Wall Street of China was actually in Yudong Street. So this is actually the history, and also the technology. It's advanced, and our so finance is closely connected with fertile soil. So our foreign merchants, there were thousands of foreign merchants, and the platform that we open up we have an open platform that's very important, and also foreign-related platform, and also China-Singapore Connectivity Initiative. We are the operating center, and we also have ports. We have also land sea trade corridor, and so this is actually an open platform. So we are one of the preferred places for investment for the foreign investors. So these are our foundations. So our facilitator requested me to share our experience. I would like to mention it in 4 sentences. First, we built financial services. We actually built a financial services window for Singapore and China. So we developed a window. So actually the financial system is very complete, and our foreign investment financial institution actually account for 60% of our local banks, and our Singapore DBS bank and actually based set up in Chongqing, and also we develop financial cluster. We have UOB, we have DBS Bank, we also have StanChart, as well as a lot of insurance company that have foreign insurance company set up a business presence in Chongqing. Second, we nurture the momentums, we develop momentums for innovation. So we actually give them support to develop the financial system. So both onshore and offshore, we develop a complete financial services. So I actually carry with me some papers because there's some cases. For example, last year we organized investment and financing meeting, and there are a lot of we actually have signed 10 billion of investment, and also there are a lot of projects that have actually been executed, and so CCB and other banks have also we have witnessed the signing ceremony, and also we are also we have also done the cross-border settlement and also cross-border shipment for, and also we work with the SGX Singapore Stock Exchange, and we has established cross-border financing and also collaborate with the Chinese insurance. So we have science and technology financing. So before that, we have actually signed some contracts, and we have set up a finance and a technology institute. And yesterday, we actually met with the government officials, and talking about the green financing, and it has reached 4 billion, and also inclusive finance, digital finance. And fourth is cross-border capital integration. So we help a lot of companies get listed in Singapore, and that involve 4 billion capital, and the capital size is 20 billion. So the last 10 years, under the Singapore-China project, we have actually focused on all these developments. So how about, and for 10 years later, how can we actually help the financial sector to empower them to go global? And we hope that we could collaborate and work on this area. Thank you.
What Deng Chiang has said, for CCB Singapore, actually we have a very close collaboration with our Chongqing branch. We have eCNY initiative with our Chongqing branch. We also have cross-border bond issuance and also cross-border RMB settlement services. So, Mr. Vino, many thanks for joining us again. And I think Malaysia is really clearly in the ascendant. There's a lot of investment flow into Malaysia. And also, I see that Malaysia has a very cordial relationship with Singapore and China. And not to mention the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone that's coming up. So I guess you're also a very important person in attracting investment into Malaysia, especially in Johor. So from your perspective, maybe you can share with us what is your authority looking at in terms of attraction for investment into Johor, and how you can relate this to the economic corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yap. Before that, I just wanted to say thank you for the organizer, Chongping, for inviting me to be part of this amazing forum. I mean, I kind of learned a lot from the beginning in the morning itself. And also, I want to thank you to the MC, pronounce my name correctly. Thank you very much, Tracy. I'm a big fan of you. Excited to see you here. So anyway, the organization where I'm representing is the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, the acronym known as MIDA. So we are the principal government agency that has been tasked to undertake investment promotion activities for foreign investment and also domestic investment in the manufacturing and services sector. Now, we have been in the business for the last 60 over years, and we are also part of the agencies that has been also been involved in the industrial development of Malaysia since the beginning. We started in agriculture, then we move on to manufacturing, mostly in the labor-intensive projects, as we gradually move on now into digital economy, more high value chain of manufacturing activities, you know, and also into the green economy as well. So what we see today in Malaysia now, it is a organic transition that we are going through, and with the lot of initiatives under the Madani government that was started way back in 2023, and we have unveiled, I would say, a very functional blueprints. You know, for example, the new industrial master plan 2030. It was unveiled in 2023. The goal is to, for example, for manufacturing, we want to increase the manufacturing growth to 6.5% by 2030, which contributes about almost 500 billion ringgit to the GDP, right? To become high-income nations and all that, to create more, about 3.3 million jobs, high-value jobs. And we have a very clear mission how we want to go about it. Allow me to name a few. We want to focus more on complex kind of product, right? Products that is more complex, that is not easy to produce, but we wanted to do it in Malaysia, because we believe we have the capabilities to do it, you know, for the last 30 or 40 years that we have been doing in the manufacturing sector, right? And digitally vibrant, we want it to be, you know, we really focus on digital economy. There's a two segment of it, which is the, you know, the digital technology provider, the digital infrastructure provider, which is, you can see a lot of data centers are coming into Malaysia now, right? And not to forget, to push for net zero, because we believe Malaysia has these resources, you know. We have the green energy resources. Initially, we were looking at, you know, to be part of that ESG, SDG, and so on, right? But when we develop the other blueprint that is called, known as the National Energy Transition Plan, we realized that it is also an immense opportunities, you know, into the green economy, where we want to do it together with the foreign experts that has the capacity or capabilities to work with us to develop, you know, to harness this further into a value proposition, you know, and eventually to serve the companies that are looking into green energy transition, for example. And then, and also inclusivity and sustainability. So we want investment that will come to Malaysia to be sustainable, and we really focus on facilitating our investors to make sure that we are also an authority body, by the way, where we grant approvals for manufacturing license. For example, for manufacturer, you need to obtain a manufacturing license. And also we look into the tax incentive, that what makes sense, you know, to lure the investment into Malaysia. But most importantly, we put utmost thing into implementing the projects, which is very important, you know, according to the investor's timeline, right? Because this is very important, because we want to have a sustainable development in Malaysia. You know, it's a long-term strategic partnership that we are looking at. And of course, with the Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone, it is the fundamentals are in line with our national agenda that I mentioned earlier. I'll stop now. Perhaps we can discuss later.
In summary, basically, there's a lot of collaboration and also opportunity with Malaysia. So I think other than government bodies that are setting the direction for development, I think multinational agencies like CCI-IF is also very important, because you are the key catalyst to support the right direction in terms of investment. Maybe Mr. Wang, you can share with us what is CCI-IF mission, and what kind of projects or investment that you are looking at to catalyze growth along this economic corridor? Thanks.
谢谢。
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, organizer, for inviting me to participate in this forum. So we are actually a multilateral organization that include Asian Bank and some other organization, and the objective is very clear and simple to support ASEAN in their local market development. So our objective is to increase the regional financial collaboration. So why CGIF is we need CGIF? That's because in most of the country in ASEAN are the financial structure primarily rely on bank loans. So they actually would cause some uncertainty, and because there may be some mismatch in monetary solution. So as a multilateral organization, we have some uniqueness. First, as our credit rating is very high. Our rating it's actually 2 times internationally. So it's actually higher than most of the countries' sovereign wealth fund, so this actually help with the local bond issue, and also for credit. These are actually the value is actually very complete, is irreversible, so actually it's actually give confidence to the investor. And another thing is that we are not going for profit. So our objective is to actually promote the development of bond market, and through bond market development to help with the financial system, to give them some stability. So after many years of development, we have to actually safeguard against future risks, especially in the financial structure and system. So our forum is held in Singapore, and in Singapore we have a lot of businesses. We have a lot of dealings, and it actually help with companies with collateral, and also for the regional, we also for region we also provide a credit bond, and also for a company from Chongqing and Singapore, we also provide collaterals for bond issue.
With CGIF, they play a very important role, because when we come to infrastructure investment, especially ESG and low carbon, a lot of the time when investors want to invest in such project, bankability is always an issue. So we need multinational agencies like Mr. Wang, CGIF, to support such initiative. Otherwise, some projects may not take off. So I think after that, we can really go down the step ladder, looking at the private sector, how the exchange and banks are supporting this economic corridor activities. I'm pleased to have Miss Chia Chai Han here with us. She heads the capital market for Greater China. Maybe because Singapore is always being named together with the other international financial center like Hong Kong and New York, and it is a very important financing center. Why Singapore is being named together with China as one of key nodes in this economic corridor is because of our ability to function as a spoke and hub center, especially in the fundraising part. So, Sai-Han, maybe you can explain to us how SGX is playing a role here to help companies not just from China and also Singapore and the region to raise funds. Thanks.
对，大家下午
Good afternoon to you. First of all, I want to thank the organizers for inviting SGX to participate in this very meaningful event. And SGX is the only diversified asset exchange. So it's different from China. So in China, you might have a commodity exchange, you have futures, you have security exchange. So in SGX, we have all the different assets, and these are all done under SGX. And foreign exchange, bond, communities, equity, valuation are all done, are transacted in our exchange. And we can see that when investors come to Singapore, they come to exchange, they can actually carry out a lot of functions. And Mr. Yap also mentioned that financing function is actually an important function that we provide, and also risk exposure, risk mitigation, and so we can actually achieve the results the investors would like to. So this is our basic services that we're able to provide to investors. And in terms of financing, in Singapore, we have different all the different industries are actually operated under the same exchange. So equity equity trading account for about a quarter. So financing is actually our focus, where we put in a lot of effort to develop. And in the past, we can realize that equity trading account for our total income. It has been reducing, but it is lower because our other businesses are expanding. So our government have been coming up with various measures so that our security market would provide a good support for investment and financing. So we hope that a potential company could actually choose Singapore as their listing site. And in February, we also worked together with our central bank, Monetary Authority of Singapore, to explore how can we enhance the attractiveness of our market. So we actually do it on first is on the supply. So we are looking at the good businesses, companies that we can attract them to Singapore. So in Singapore, we have been bringing in Chinese companies and international companies. So this is the work that we do. And so various companies from various regions, they may actually choose Singapore to actually carry out financing. So offshore companies, when they are listed in Singapore, so you need to set up an entity in Singapore, and as long as you have a tax-paying entity, this entity would be able to get some tax benefit or rebate. So those companies that have actually set up businesses in Singapore, they will actually include the capital market. And also, in terms of demand, Monetary Authority of Singapore have actually provided 5 billion security plan, and to guide more, to actually attract more investors to come to Singapore to trade. And with this, we make use of this 5 billion. And we can actually allocate it to different funds, and again set this up as a seeds fund, and they can come to our market to trade. And some of the investors might actually do some investment because of such arrangement, secondary listing. And third is regulation. And we have optimized this part, and we have unified some of our policies in terms of regulations, and we will go more towards disclosure mode, and it help with establishing business here. And we will also make arrangement for SGX XGS will do the review, and Monetary Authority of Singapore will not required to do more. Will do less review work. And so, as for Chinese enterprises, in the recent period, about 2 months ago, our framework for secondary listing have been adjusted. So in the past, we have been supporting Chinese enterprises, whether it's in US, Hong Kong, or London. So we have provide a very convenient framework for them to have secondary listing. So we will actually so they have been complying with the laws in London, Hong Kong, and US. So we have made we extend our secondary listing. So shares A company that have been and those that are listed on Shanghai and Shenzhen Stock Exchange, they come to Singapore for secondary listing. And when they do that, we will actually match with the A shares rules, so they do not have to comply with 2 sets of rules. So for businesses that go overseas to Singapore, to this region, they hope that they will have a financing channel that is closer to what they have in China. And for some of the employees, they want to give them some incentive, or also currency for M&A. So the shares in that they raise, they can actually deploy it. So for Chinese businesses, so this is a recent services that we provide.
Market-driven exchange here, and from the market perspective, from our bank, actually recently we hosted the Hungarian government who came to Singapore and do roadshow. Actually, Singapore is has a very deep market, especially fund investors, fixed income investors. They are all here. So a lot of investors chose Singapore as a financing center because they can meet all the investors from all over the world. Okay, I think we need to circle back to the financial industry. We're talking about all this development. In the end, someone has to foot the bill. It has to be the bank. So maybe Mr. Lee Chow, can you explain to us from CITIC? I know CITIC is a very big and diversified group. You represent CITIC International. Maybe as a banking side, what is your bank looking at in terms of participating in this economic corridor? And what are the key challenges or opportunity you see in the market? Thanks.
It's a great honor to be invited here. And my name is Lee Chow. I'm running the global market business for CITIC Bank International. I think regarding this topic, there's a few angles that I can elaborate here. I think for CITIC Bank as well as CITIC Group, we are very keen to participate in the entire One Belt, One Road and the promotion of all those economic collaborations. There is a few things that we have been doing. One is, I think from regional expansion and coverage network perspective, CITIC Bank International ourselves have a few branches, and the largest branch is actually in Singapore. I think the Singapore branch helping us expanding our network into Singapore as well as the entire ASEAN country, and help us service our clients in the ASEAN and even in the One Belt, One Road region. Secondly, our parents bank, CITIC Bank, has also acquired a bank in Kazakhstan, ATM Bank. That's also a strategy to help the CITIC Bank and even entire CITIC Group to be able to service the regions better. And that's from a network expansion perspective. In terms of the service and product that we think there is opportunity, and also we have been providing to our clients, is that we provide, I think, various financial service to our product, ranging from, providing financing for, for companies from China and expanding into overseas, expanding into ASEAN and all this One Belt, One Road place. This financing including helping them issuing or raising funds from the bond market, from the bank debt capital market, which I think some of our panel speakers mentioned. We have brought a lot of Chinese companies overseas to raise funds in the overseas market, and we try to promote the offshore CNH bond market, which is called Dingsang market. We also promote more Chinese issuer coming to Sing dollar market to issue. We bring more issuer from China and even globally issue bond in Singapore with listing in the Singapore Stock Exchange. And that's what we has been doing to promote this region. I think besides that, we also try to bring more ASEAN issuer, Singapore issuer going to the Dingsang market, the CNH bond market to issue bond as well. Besides the bond market, I think we directly doing loan financing for Chinese issuer for Chinese corporate going to overseas, going to ASEAN markets, going to One Belt, One Road countries for infrastructure building, etc. We're also promoting trade between China and ASEAN countries. We're promoting renminbi trade settlement between China and a lot of countries, including ASEAN and a lot of One Belt, One Road countries. We provide cheap CNH trade finance funding for those trade to be happening and to be settling in CNY. And that's from sort of financing and trade finance, etc. We also, besides that, we're also providing, FX and rates hedging for a lot of companies, whether Chinese companies or Singapore companies or ASEAN country companies, when they're doing investment in China or Chinese company doing investment overseas in Singapore, in ASEAN country, in One Belt, One Road country, providing them, all the FX hedging solutions, including, between CNH or renminbi versus the local currencies, for example, Sing dollar, and even including the ASEAN currency like Thai baht, rupee, ringgit, etc. So I think we provide a full suite of financial solutions for both Chinese corporates as well as Singapore and ASEAN corporates in that front.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but I think the offshore RMB is a very important topic that we should actually spend more time to discuss here, because we have actually seen a lot of discussion amongst our client and also other banks that we interact with. A lot of people are exploring using renminbi as a source of transaction currency and financing currency. I think this is something that is inevitable in the market. If you understand the euro-dollar market, it's actually a US dollar market that is being created offshore without the Fed involvement. So I feel offshore RMB could be going the same direction. In future, RMB could also become an important source of funding for offshore. And that is something which I think we should look forward to. Actually, I wanted to ask another question on the tariff, but I'm not sure if we have time for that. I'm told we have only 3 minutes left, but I think if any of the guests here has any inputs on the recent tariff issue, what do you think? Is there an impact to your business, or do you think this is an opportunity even? I felt, to me, it's an opportunity. We have seen, because of this tariff situation, it forces companies and banks to look at investment in this region. So the best excuse is actually to spend and create economic growth. So I'm not sure, is there any inputs from the panelists on this? Anyone want to?
这个话题。
For this topic, let me share my view. Talking about tariff, this is unavoidable, especially the U.S.-China trade war. in the future, there are a lot of uncertainty. So we have to really work on how we should deal with it. So this is actually a reality that cannot be avoided. So as we analyze how do we deal with this crisis, I'd like to share. So this is how I feel as I work through this issue. So talking about temperature in water, we can feel it. And at the impact on the economy and the businesses is actually is very high, and the burden of a tariff that's actually that is real, and we have been negotiating with Geneva. So we are still facing this burden of tariff 30%, and also the market demand is also shrinking because of the external factors. It's affecting and it creates some obstacles, so it's not so smooth. And third is that the international trade rules are actually uncertain, and the tariff imposed by Trump, it is actually destroying the economic disrupting the economy, and there are a lot of uncertainty. So for all these issues, how do we deal with it? So I have some insights from the work that I do. So first, we have to accelerate our policy. We have to launch the policy at the local level and the central level. So it has to, so that for those businesses that are primarily in trade are able to survive. So this is first step. So we have to actually speed up our policies to support the trade. And also the trade structure has to be adjusted. And there are some, for example, machinery, and these are actually affected, and also U.S. wanted some of the manufacturing base to be returned to U.S. So these are actually will create some impact. And also we want a diversified market. So especially in ASEAN, it is actually our important direction. So ASEAN, especially after we start with we have this connectivity initiative, we can see that the trade volume in ASEAN has actually increased, and we also want to stimulate domestic demand. We want and we also come up with 9 different initiatives, and one is to expand our domestic demand. So I think with all these measures, we could actually try to alleviate and mitigate the risk. And we hope to have a better future.
Quoting this game theory, I'm sure everybody know about game theory. So in game theory, actually, it's been proven cooperation is the best way to benefit, and not defect and become enemy. So I hope with that we can cooperate more. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Director. For your wonderful hosting, and all the guests for your in-depth sharing. Let's take a group photo. We want to thank all our guests.
Thank you so much. Love the discussion. 也期待我们
I look forward that we will have bear fruits under the Land Sea Trade Corridor. So let's give them another round of applause. Thank you for their sharing.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just now, Mr. Yap shared something very interesting. He said in game theory, cooperation is really the way to go, but there is a prerequisite. It's all players participating in the game have to be rational. So hopefully world leaders will yield towards the way of rationality going forward. It's really good for everybody. 尊敬的各位领导、各位嘉宾、女士们、先生们，今天的财经论坛紧凑而充实，我们聆听了专家学者的洞见着实，共同目睹了多项重磅成果的签约落地，同时更在3场的高规格圆桌对话当中收获了对于区域经济发展的深度启示。在这里，我宣布2025陆海财经论坛圆满结束，圆满成功，感谢大家！让我们把掌声送给每一位参会的嘉宾以及我们所有的幕后工作人员，好不好？感谢大家！